catching up with the people who actually continue serving here. Mr. Speaker, sir, having said that, and the chair of the Committee of Education is here as a committee, and I have had a very good time serving as a member of this committee. You know, the leader of majority was mocking me that they pushed me to the Committee of Education because it deals mostly with issues to do with early childhood development, and I have young children. I want to confirm to the leader of majority that I have enjoyed. I have had a very good time serving as a member of this committee. And in fact, removing me from this committee would be, I would feel very, very, that whipping would even be more painful than the whipping that happened when I was leaving the chairmanship of the committee that I was serving. Because, Mr. Speaker, sir, this committee has been able, and I have heard the Senator for Vihiga complain that sometimes committees are overwhelmed and they are not able to follow up on implementation of reports that have been laid on this table, Mr. Speaker. Even though this is tailored for Muranga, Mr. Speaker, sir, I must inform you that many governors, out of the 47 governors, like 24 governors have appeared before our committee so that they can give a status update of how far they have gone in terms of the implementation of this resolution that was made by the Senate in terms of absorption of ECD teachers and in terms of implementation of the schemes of service of early childhood development teachers, Mr. Speaker. So therefore, it is my considered opinion, Mr. Speaker, that the Committee of Education will be able to go and
Senator Meadow, you know, you used almost 2 minutes just to go around your comment. And then we had no time to give the substantive issue that you wanted to address. Honorable Senators, we have just now 4 minutes to the close of the statement hour. Maybe we share these few minutes with the Senator Mugatana and Danson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is a very important point that was raised by the majority leader in his statement. Mr. Speaker, the cooperation between the legislative arm and the executive has never been institutionalized, Mr. Speaker. And to hear that now there is, in fact, a plan so that a manual is developed between the executive and the legislative bodies, this is a wonderful thing. Mr. Speaker, many years ago, when I was first elected, there was a great gentleman called Norman Nyaga, who was the whip, and he used to attend cabinet. And there was some form of relationship between the executive and the parliamentary service. In fact, Mr. Speaker, in those days, the leader of government business was none other than the vice president, and there was some form of good cooperation. But then somewhere along the line, the things have gone somehow. Majority leaders from National Assembly and the Senate have taken over, and then somehow things have not been the way they should be. Mr. Speaker, the whip in the UK Parliament sits in cabinet. It's that important. And so, Mr. Speaker, if this manual is developed, we expect better cooperation between our ministers and us. When we give them questions, when we want answers, when we want them to be accountable, they are here and on time, Mr. Speaker. When we want them to be accountable within our committees, they are there and they are on time, and they don't let us down so that we can function effectively. Mr. Speaker, finally, I wanted to comment on the statement by the Honorable Mutata. Mr. Speaker, the universities, particularly private universities, have played such an important role in this country. So even as the Education Committee looks at the issues Senator has raised, I wanted to take the opportunity to congratulate the role that they have played. And in particular, I want to mention here Great Lakes University for their announcement that they are going to set up a campus, the first private university campus in Tana River County. It has never happened, Mr. Speaker. So I really want us to also appreciate what private universities are doing, and we want specifically to line out what Great Lakes University is doing in Tana River County. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Catherine Muyeka Muma. And Senator Catherine, me also from where I sit. You know, when we have like 10 members from this side queuing, and then we have only one member who came last, the 11th member to queue. You know, it is very fair still to give as many members on this side to be fair before even we start swiping the signs. Proceed.
Chair, I submit myself to the chair, and I am fine with what you have done. Mr. Speaker, I rise to comment on the statement by a Senator for Tharaka Nithi, Senator Mofai, to the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources, a statement that is seeking that the committee take an interest in the activities that are about to start taking place in Tharaka Nithi, where they have discovered the mines of copper, iron, and lithium. Honorable Speaker, I would want to urge that the committee also takes an interest in what is happening in Kolomani today. Honorable Speaker, a lot of violence has happened in Kakamega, where gold has been apparently been discovered, and the company, a private company named Shanta, would like to move in. And Honorable Speaker, the manner in which this company has conducted itself in terms of public participation, consultation with the community has not been fully transparent. And the community in Ikolomani feels that they are about to be displaced without proper consultation, without proper understanding of what is happening. Honorable Speaker, NEMA in June actually gave a notice for a public participation, but did not avail a report for the community to look into. When the community tried to access that report, it was only availed the day before the public participation, about 3 weeks ago, and NEMA had to put off that exercise. The exercise was put on for today. As we are speaking, as Senator Alwale puts it, we may have lost lives as a result of the confrontation. I do not know why government has to use excessive force to try and force a public participation in order to justify a report that would bring in this investor. I would want to urge that the committee look into the role of NEMA, whether NEMA can be independent instead of being an ally to those and an accomplice to those who are coming in. I think the committee and the Senate needs to move in order for the issue of...
Honorable Senators, several senators have actually in an issue expressed a concern in Koromani. But Honorable Senators, you should know that there is no statement on Koromani. I wish the member for Kakamega, the senator for Kakamega County, could have moved with the speed even to do a question to the CS in charge of environment and natural resources, so that this matter can be addressed. Because this is just a supplementary issue from the statement by Senator Mofaya, the senator for Tharaka Nithi County. But I think the senator for Kakamega, Senator Muyeka, I can see you are passionately concerned with what is happening in Ikoromani. And also the committee can take up that issue and address it. The Committee on Lands, Natural Resources, if that is a live matter in Kakamega, and the people have lost lives, the committee can as well move with the speed and get concerned with what is happening there, Chairman. Chair.
On Monday this week, we had a joint committee meeting with a retreat with the National Assembly Committee on the Environment and Kenya National Human Rights Commission. And one of the issues was, again, from Ikolomani, where a young man complained that they are being harassed. They are being arrested, charged with frivolous offenses, given very high bond terms, which make them remain in remand for a long time so that they can be frustrated in order not to pursue human rights issues that are arising in that area as regards this mining company called Chantel. Mr. Speaker, allow me also to comment on two statements. One by Senator Hamida and the other one by Senator Chute on issues regarding water scarcity in Marsabit County. Mr. Speaker, I'll comment in Kiswahili on the issue of water. First of all, Mr. Speaker, nichukue fursa hii kuunga mkono.
Senator, you know you are seasoned senator, registered in this house. You can't just switch in that manner.
No,
and also, I gave you the opportunity just to comment on the Ikoroman issue.
Yes,
I
commented on the Ikoroman issue.
Lands and development, natural resources, mining.
And sought your permission.
You cannot sneak again now to start commenting on other
Allow me, Mr. Speaker, to make a few comments on the statements by Senator Chute and Senator Hamida.
Because we are 3 minutes of, I'm surprised the table has not noticed that.
No, the 3 minutes have not started. The first one I was commenting.
Can they use 1 minute also to conclude?
On an issue on my committee. The first comment was on an issue on my committee, which you asked me to comment upon. So the 3 minutes should be starting from now. Kwanza, Mheshimiwa Spika, kuhusiana na masuala ya upungufu wa makadhi. Hili ni jambo muhimu sana kwa sababu mahakama za kadhi ndio zinasikiza matatizo ya ndoa, talaka na urathi kwenye jamii ambao ni ya Waislamu. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ukosefu wa makadhi hawa katika kaunti ya Kitale, Thika, Murang'a, Busia, Homa Bay, Migori na Faza huko Lamu ni jambo ambalo linatakana lishughulikiwe kwa haraka zaidi. Mheshimiwa Spika, hata kaunti ya Mombasa pia ina upungufu wa makadhi. Kwa hivyo tunaomba kamati ya husika ya haki iweze kulivalia njuga jambo hili, waweze kulitatua kwa haraka. Mheshimiwa Spika, kuhusiana na statement ya Senator Chute kuhusiana na ukosefu wa maji katika maeneo ya Marsabit, hili ni tatizo hata katika kaunti ya Mombasa. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mombasa hivi sasa, Mheshimiwa Spika, leo kulikuwa na maandamano katika mtaa wa Old Town kuhusiana na swala la.
Naomba nikuongeze sekunde 30 peke yake.
Asante. Leo tunavyozungumza, Mheshimiwa Spika, kulikuwa na maandamano katika Old Town. Na Old Town, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni katikati ya mji wa Mombasa. Kwa hivyo ikiwa katikati ya mji wa Mombasa kuna shida ya maji, wale wanaoishi Miritini, wale wanaishi Jomvu Kuu, wale wanaishi Mwakirunge, hali itakuwa namna gani? Mheshimiwa Spika, kaunti zetu japokuwa zimepewa jukumu la kuhusiana na masuala ya maji, lakini ukiangalia bajeti zao hazina uwekezaji katika masuala ya maji. Mheshimiwa Spika, hili pia ni swala ambalo linaathiri kamati yangu, linahusu kamati yangu, na muhakikishia Senator Chute na watu wa Mombasa kwamba swala hili tutalivalia njuga, tuhakikishe kwamba maji yanapatikana kwa wananchi wa Kenya. Hatuwezi kuwa
Senator Modigi Alexander.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi niweze kuchangia mjadala wa Senator wa Tharaka Nithi kuhusu mambo ya madini na dhamani, kwa sababu tunajua kama waziri wa Blue Economy angeharakisha hiyo pesa ingeweza kusaidia ile county, mambo ya shule na pia mambo ya agriculture na mambo ile ingine. Kwa hivyo nataka kusema Bwana Spika, sio mambo ya Tharaka Nithi peke yake, hata Embu County mambo ya madini na dhamani in Embu County, Mbeere South, Kiangunguru Hill, hata huko tuko na miaka 2 Bwana Spika. Waziri wa Blue Economy alienda akapata madini inaitwa Kotana, na tunajua kama hii wilaya ingeharakisha kaunti nyingi ingefaidika na hizo pesa, kwa sababu tumeona hata katika ule mgawanji ya pesa ya county, unaona county zingine zinateseka na zingine zinavaindika. Kwa hivyo tunaomba waziri wa Blue Economy aweze kufanya kazi pamoja na waziri wa land, ndio hiyo mambo iweze kuonekana, ndio pia zile county zingine siweze kuvaindika kama Tharaka Nithi, kama Meru, na pia hata huko Ikoromani na Embu County mbele South katika ile mlima ya Kanguguru. Kwa hivyo tunaomba Bwana Spika kuweze kuharakishwa ndio watu waweze kuvaindika na hii maneno, na pia serikali itafaindika na county itafaindika, na mambo ya economy katika zile county itakuwa mazuri. Pia Bwana Spika, naweza kuunga mkono mambo ya ECD, ya mambo ya senator wa Murang'a. Sio mambo ya Murang'a peke yake, county nyingi zinateseka na watu wengi wamejifunza mambo ya ECD pia wanateseka. Tungeomba kamati iweze kuangalia vile au watu wataongezewa pesa na vile watakuwa wakilipwa pesa zao. Asante Bwana Spika, naunga mkono.
Last but not the least, the Senate Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to make a quick comment on this issue of Angata Baragoi. That it's really unfortunate. This matter has gone on now for a while. I went there about 3 or 4 months ago, and it was understanding between the residents and the government that there will be deeper consultations until this matter is resolved with finality, because this conflict has existed for years. Many people have lost their lives, and the citizens on that day, we were seated with the Inspector General, the County Commissioner, and they promised the people that we shall come here for a consultative meeting, and we shall ensure that we reach an amicable solution between the communities that live there, so that this matter can be put to rest with finality. I'm even aware, Mr. Speaker, that these citizens have engaged the Ministry of Lands, Mr. Speaker, and I was of the view, Mr. Speaker, that once this matter is concluded, then everything should be laid to rest. Unfortunately, the last few weeks and days have been very difficult for residents of Angata Baragoi, because I have seen there have been running battles and conflicts here and there with very minimal support from the government in terms of bringing down the conflict and ensuring that the warring parties are able to agree with each other. It's unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, that as we speak today, remember we lost 5 or 6 people that time I went. Up to date, nobody has ever been tried, Mr. Speaker, for the killings that happened. As we sit here today, many more people are continuing to lose their lives based on this conflict. I really want to plead with the Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Lands, and all the responsible government agencies, Mr. Speaker, to see to it that we conclude on this matter expeditiously so that people don't have to fight. We don't want bloodshed in this part of the country or any part of the country whatsoever, Mr. Speaker, because these are things that people can sit down and agree, particularly when there is a willingness, and I can tell that there is a willingness amongst all the communities that have disagreed on this sticky issue. Therefore, I want to use the floor of this House to urge the Ministry of Lands and the Ministry of Interior to leave the offices in Nairobi, set foot in Angata Baragoi, Mr. Speaker, sit down with all the residents and the interested parties, reach an agreeable solution with all of them, and follow it through so that this thing of conflict year in, year out becomes a thing of the past. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. That is the close of the statement hour. Next on the clerk.
Order number 8, the Assisted Reproductive Technology Bill, National Assembly Bills number 61 of 2022, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the regulation and of assisted reproductive technology, to prohibit certain practices in connection with assisted reproductive technology, to make provision in relation to children born of assisted reproductive technology processes for connected purposes.
Next on.
Order number 9, motion, progress report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration on an inquiry into the diversity and inclusivity in the staff composition of state agencies in Kenya. Question to be put.
Clerk, confirm whether you have quorum to put the question. Honorable Senators, Senator Wakoli, have your seat as we conclude, we put the question, and then we can go to the next one that you are concerned with. Have the privilege to sit on the Deputy Speaker's seat. Honorable Senators, Honorable Senators, Honorable Senators, you have the quorum to put the question. Honorable Senators, I put the question that the Senate adopts progress report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration into an inquiry on the diversity and inclusivity in the staff composition of state agencies in Kenya, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 3rd October 2024. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, consideration of the report of the Mediation Committee on the Coffee Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023.
Chairperson, Mediation Committee on the Coffee Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023. Chairperson, Agriculture Committee. And the current majority whip of the Senate, and the member for Senator from Bungoma County. You know, with all these titles I've read,
Honorable Speaker,
you must be organized.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that the Senate adopts the report on the Mediation Committee on the Coffee Bill, Senate Bill number 10 of 2023, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 4th December 2025, and that pursuant to Article 1132 of the Constitution and Standing Order 1673 of the Senate approves the mediated version of the bill. Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate the members of the Agriculture Committee of the Senate that I led up to late yesterday on the tedious and commitment they showed to ensure that this bill goes through, Honorable Speaker. I want to appreciate members of the National Assembly, led by their chair, for burning the midnight oil to ensure that we come to a consensus on this bill, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this bill had various contentious issues that made us go back to the drawing boards, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we had an issue of DSS, direct sales, Honorable Speaker, where the matter was in court, Honorable Speaker, and the court directed that the matter be shelved up to next year, where national government will do proper public participation to ensure that the farmers and the estate owners are given an opportunity to contribute and allow the government to use any bank to channel funds to farmers. Honorable Speaker, another element that is in this bill is the Research Institute, Honorable Speaker. The threshold for the management of the institute has been raised, Honorable Speaker, because the country is setting the pace in the research of coffee in this country. And if Kenya has to cut an edge above our competitors in East Africa and the world, it means that the management and the CEO of the institute must be qualified enough with experience to steer this institute, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the board as well of the of the Coffee Institute, Honorable Speaker, is equally mandated to oversee the management of the institute, and therefore, we have various research centers across the country. This bill, given life by the approval of the President, will ensure that the farmers of this country get affordable seed, quality seed, extension services, and the county governments are able to do their bit to ensure that the coffee of this country is the best that we can ever give. Honorable Speaker, as you look at East Africa, we were in Uganda the other day. They took us through how they are investing in the coffee industry. And it gave us the impetus, Honorable Speaker, to move with speed and ensure that the farmer of this country benefits. Honorable Speaker, because the farmer of Kenya has waited for many, many a day, for a day like this, where the cooperatives will be given life through the cooperative bill, so that the management of factories and cooperatives of coffee are able to work together with the management to give farmers their sorry, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we are saying that the coffee law will help to regulate the coffee industry in Kenya, as it will ensure that the producers and manufacturers comply with established standards and guidelines. This will help in the improving of quality of coffee products, and the consumers are protected from harmful and substandard products. A clear legal framework, Honorable Speaker, for the coffee industry will make it easier for investors to understand the regulatory environment and to make informed decisions about investing in the sector. This can lead to increased investment in coffee production and processing facilities, which will create jobs and drive the economic growth. The Coffee Bill of 2023, Honorable Speaker, has provisions that protect domestic coffee producers from unfair competition from foreigners or foreign imports and middlemen. This will help to support local coffee production and ensure Kenya's coffee industry remains visible, viable, and sustainable. Honorable Speaker, the coffee industry is an important part of Kenya's agricultural sector, and promoting the growth and development of the industry will promote food security in the country. This is especially important given Kenya's dependence on imported coffee and other food products. A well-regulated coffee industry will generate significant revenue for the Kenyan government through taxes and other fees. This revenue will be used to support important social programs and infrastructure projects. The committee, having viewed the Coffee Bill, number 10 of 2023, recommends that the House approves the bill with amendments as proposed in the schedule in Chapter 5 of this report. The committee is grateful to the offices of the Speaker and the clerks of both houses of Parliament for logistical and technical support accorded to it in execution of its mandate. Finally, Honorable Speaker, we express our appreciation to members of the committee and the committee secretariat for their patient sacrifice and endurance commitment to the assignment which enabled the committee to complete the task within the stipulated period. It is now my pleasant privilege and honor to recommend this report to the Houses for approval on behalf of the Mediation Committee pursuant to Article 1132 of the Constitution Standing Order 150, one of the National Assembly Standing Orders and Standing Orders 161 of the Standing Orders, Honorable Speaker. I, Wafula Wakoli, Chairman, Mediation Committee, and the Chief Whip of the majority in the House.
Who is seconding?
I do second.
You are moving the bill.
Honorable
Just
Speaker, I want
pronounce
to
yourself
thank
that you-
the majority leader. His members are active. Second is...
Did you pronounce yourself that you beg to move?
Yes.
Please repeat again.
I beg to move.
Well, Majority Leader.
I want to request Honorable Cheragay to second. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Chelagai Samson.
And I wish the coffee farmers all the best as we wait for the approval and signing of the bill. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate my majority whip. Chair, I want to congratulate my majority whip and Chair of Agriculture, Senator Wakoli, before Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think this is one of the few senators who is having meteoric rise in the House. He just came into through by-election, became a chair, became a whip. His codes must be coming from somewhere that we don't know.
And you
but, but as but Speaker, somebody who is trying to giant me has nothing. He's a backbencher like me. So I think my majority whip assembly, and we did Wamutenda to them in better note, so he should be disciplined during this season.
Senator Chelagai, proceed and second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I second, I want to thank the majority whip, who is also the chair of Agriculture, Chair Committee, Vice Chair Senator Mundigi, and all committee members of Agriculture for the good job that they have done. Mr. Speaker, I feel honored and privileged to second this bill, because one, you have to appreciate that coffee is grown in majority of this country. Apart from Mount Kenya region, we have coffee in Bungoma, in Kericho, a place called Kipkelian, where majority leader comes from, myself in Tindret, in Nandi County, among other many counties, Mr. Speaker. And also in Meru. Of course, I have said Mount Kenya region. I thought you are a member of Mount Kenya caucus. Mr. Speaker, the point I'm trying to make, coffee is one of the most important cash crop in this country, Mr. Speaker, and across the region. You remember even during the era of 70s and 80s, the Chepkube in Uganda. At that time, they were doing even $4 billion in terms of cash of transactions, Mr. Speaker. I was looking at statistics as I beg to second, because this is just a mediated version of the bill, and allow my colleagues. Mr. Speaker, you look at 2023, 2024, Kenya, the coffee was 39.9 billion turnover. That is equivalent to over $292 million. Mr. Speaker, in the first 9 months of 2025, and we exported 49.5 million kilos, Mr. Speaker, of coffee to the country. Mr. Speaker, it will come to the attention of the House. In the first 9 months, we have, in 2025, exported coffee worth 43.4 billion. Mr. Speaker, and it is the most drink after the other drinks that is not juice and water, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the biggest threat, and I'm happy that this bill, this mediated version of the bill, Mr. Speaker, as I second, is more of a cleanup. We had discussed this, Mr. Speaker. It's more how to give the substantive issue, like cleanup on the issue of the role of county governments, Mr. Speaker. Just for the benefit of the House, we are now strengthening the role of county government in terms of running the issue of holding accountability in coffee, Mr. Speaker. We have the issue of research, which we have agreed in clause number 3, and the functions and the county governments. Mr. Speaker, the reason I want to agree with this mediated version, in summary, is under the 4th schedule, agriculture is devolved, Mr. Speaker. But the policy standards remained with the national government, Mr. Speaker. It is, and I know Senator Okiya Omutata is here, that at least there have been a relationship, the bipartisan relationship between the county and the national government, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, this is very important, that even as Council of Governors and Counties take this mediated version, as provided under Article 113, 123, which shall be referred to the President under Constitution 2010 of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, the role of county government has been defined. And under Article 96, the role of the Senate is to protect the interests of the counties, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank the Agriculture Committee, led by the majority whip, that this is very important that county governments has been given. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, I think the issue of direct sales, DSS, of course, it was in the other part. Mr. Speaker, the only challenge we face now is lack of seedlings. I want to appeal to the Ministry of Agriculture to look at the issue of the seedlings so that farmers, there is a new spirit in my county and across the country that people want to plant coffee, because coffee is an important cash crop. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, the issue of licensing has been given to the county government as national government. Therefore, they become the regulator and ensure that in case of non-compliance in clause number 37, Mr. Speaker, there is also an important thing, that there is establishment of Coffee Research and Training Institute of Kenya, which will ensure, like the one we use, Ruiru 2, the other types of seedlings that we do, Mr. Speaker, in terms of coffee, this the Coffee Research and Training Institute of Kenya should be. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy and I want to thank the majority leader, because now we have ensured each crop has its own institute. Unlike the one that was run by one of his friends, Mr. Speaker, AFA. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that AFA should be finished, should be dismantled, because AFA was running rice, was running coffee, was running tea, was running cashew nut, was running sugar, Mr. Speaker. At least now, we have dismantled AFA, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that there is close attention to most of these crops that we discuss. So this Coffee Research and Training Institute of Kenya will be very important, Mr. Speaker, and I want to agree with the report of the Committee on the Mediated Version. Mr. Speaker, the issue of non-compliance and of the licensing will leave that to the county governments, Mr. Speaker. Even other issues, Mr. Speaker, even the Capital Markets Authority, so that we have the NSC, Nairobi Stock Exchange, will get into place to ensure that coffee can be traded and farmers get values. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that the issue of catalog has been sorted out, and the warehousing, Mr. Speaker, we have the warehousing receipting law, an act that is in place, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue of licensing has been captured very well to ensure there is industry standards for quality standards. The board, the Coffee Board of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, will collaborate with licensing authority to ensure compliance to standard and quality across the nation. Even, Mr. Speaker, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, in this institute, Mr. Speaker, the role of Parliament has been highlighted very clearly, Mr. Speaker, and then there is the issue of definition of the apex, which has been captured very well, Mr. Speaker. Even in the board, we just use the Mongoso code that has been provided for SACCAs, Mr. Speaker. The issue of Cabinet Secretary in consultation. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy, finally, as I finish, Mr. Speaker, that the issue of Cabinet Secretary, he must consult, because we don't want to create mini-goats in the Ministry of Agriculture. We want when licensing and regulations within the coffee sector are put in place, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, finally, in this mediated fashion, the second schedule has been done very well. I'm happy there is issue of warehousing, pulping station license, coffee roaster license, coffee market agents license, and trading license will be put in place. Mr. Speaker, in an upshot, as I finish in seconding, Mr. Speaker, I want to pass my deepest condolences, Mr. Speaker, because two of my watchmen were killed in Jebonet areas and Maraba when the coffee thieves struck in one of our coffee centers in mills in Tindred sub-county, Mr. Speaker. I think it is neighboring Kericho, Mr. Speaker. I think we had agreed, and I don't know what the Ministry of Interior is doing, and I want to send majority leader. I thought we had agreed that we form anti-coffee police unit, anti-theft police unit, the way we have done to anti-stock theft unit. I'm aware in Meru and Isiolo there is the issue of cattle rustling, and people have died, Mr. Speaker. But I want to request, I know Mount Kenya region also has a challenge of coffee theft, Mr. Speaker. I think we should agree that we form a police unit to fight this theft, Mr. Speaker. I'll be barring 2 watchmen for only protecting the coffee mills, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, we must ensure, and I don't know, we had agreed, Mr. Speaker, that this police unit specifically dedicated to fight the theft of coffee should be put in place. And I hope the majority leader will note that to ensure is our contact with the executive to ensure the issue of coffee theft is finished. I don't know, I think Kericho is much more safer. Maybe he will give us tactics on how to protect our coffee. But we don't want to resort to bow and arrows, because us can easily use bows and arrows to protect our coffee. Mr. Speaker, finally, I am happy that under President William Ruto, the issue of tea has been resolved, although we have the issue of bonus and tea price. I am happy issue of coffee has been resolved under President William Ruto. I am happy the issue of sugar has been resolved. In the first time under Sugar Act, Mr. Speaker, sugar farmers, including Senator Boni Khalwale, are going to earn bonuses, Mr. Speaker. That is the pride that we must, that under guarantee minimum returns that the President William Ruto under better bottom-up economic transformation economy, Mr. Speaker, under better, We are now realizing guarantee minimum returns. We have fixed coffee, we have fixed sugar, we are fixed issue of, I think cashew nuts was sorted out, Mr. Speaker. We are now fixing the issue of tea. You have had by 2027, and I am happy to be alive even during that time. The Minister of Agriculture said we might get 100 plus in our bonuses when he appeared before the National Assembly. So I think the issue of livestock, I'm happy the livestock bill is being sorted. The issue of cattle rustling and banditry, no, the Senate Deputy Speaker is sad because he lost a number of people because of cattle rustling and banditry. We are passing condolences to those people. But Mr. Speaker, I'm happy. It is only under President William Ruto that most of the farmers' issues are being fixed. And that is why our opponents do not have an agenda. And I hope Medu should take the message to most of his friends, Mr. Speaker. And I'm happy Media Council of Kenya has condemned his friend, the impeached deputy president, by attacking Stephen Leto, Mr. Speaker. They should do their politics without attacking and antagonizing media. We need free media, Mr. Speaker. Having been a champion of this, having been the chair of JLAC, like you, I cannot allow any human rights, including media freedom under Article 34 and 35, to be undermined by busybodies who are disunited opposition. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to second. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Samson Cherargei, for seconding this very important motion. And honorable senators, I now propose the question that the Senate adopts the report of the Mediation Committee on the Coffee Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 2nd of December 2025, and that pursuant to Article 113, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution and Standing Order 167.3 of the Senate, approves the mediated version of the bill. Now, honorable members, this motion is available for contribution and debate from members, and I will allow the members who requested to contribute to it. And I'll start with, now Senator Namo is not there, the Senate Majority Leader.
It's not loyal. Yeah, loyalty. We need to check his loyalty. Mr. Speaker, I thank you. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the Mediation Committee, though I appreciate them as I complain. Senator Wakoli, you guys have taken inordinately long. And you must, I know it is not through the making of your own, because mediation exercises are normally difficult. I personally had to intervene by calling and almost even shouting at the chairperson from the National Assembly, who kept on making excuses, Mr. Speaker, as to why they were not available to debate and talk about this exercise, Mr. Speaker. I must register my appreciation to this team, Mr. Speaker, who have made it here, and assure Mr. Speaker that the effort is registered in the House this afternoon on the last day of the fourth session, that they sat with the colleagues from the National Assembly, hoggled over clauses, and eventually now, as we sit here today, we can say we have a mediated version of the bill. This bill has stayed in this House for over 2 years, Mr. Speaker, and our colleagues from the National Assembly have also taken a while to agree to some of the proposals that are in this bill. Be that as it may, Mr. Speaker, this bill is transformational. This is a consequential legislation. Just like we passed we passed the tea bill here in 2020, Mr. Speaker, and since then, farmers have continued to celebrate the industry of a legislative arm that listens to the pleas of farmers, Mr. Speaker. When we passed the tea bill here in 2020, Mr. Speaker, tea farmers, including those that you represent and those that many of my colleagues here represent, Mr. Speaker, would wait for their payment, for example, sometimes up to 20th. We had to put it in law, Mr. Speaker, that you cannot take tea from farmers and stay beyond the 5th of the following month without paying them, Mr. Speaker. We came here last year, and within 1.5 years of coming into this parliament, Mr. Speaker, we passed the sugar bill. As we see today, the sugar sector is better organized than what it was 2-3 years ago. I see a lot of activity. In fact, today, Mr. Speaker, if you go to my county, there's a center called Kapsoit. It is where sugarcane and tea farmers meet. Back in the day, it is the tea farmers who used to buy 1 round, if you understand what I mean, Mr. Speaker, to the sugarcane farmers. As it is today, because sugarcane farmers are now being paid weekly, we have mills that have roared back to life, Mr. Speaker. It is now the sugarcane farmers that are spoiling the town because of good things that have gone into their pocket. That is what we mean, Mr. Speaker, when we say bottom-up economic transformation, Mr. Speaker. I am happy, Mr. Speaker, because as we sit here today, we are discussing the mediated version of the coffee bill. I have said it times without number in this house, that many times, Mr. Speaker, the public rarely appreciates what government has done. Sometimes it takes them, it's not that they are not appreciative, but they rarely voice it actually, Mr. Speaker. But each time in the last 1 year that I have visited the coffee growing regions of my county, Kipkelion specifically, Mr. Speaker, and parts of Lower Ainamoi, many times, Senator Mungatana, when farmers rise to speak, they thank the president and they tell me, go and tell the president, we appreciate what has been done in the coffee sector. Remember, by the time of coming into office by 2022, many farmers were earning as low as 20 or 30 shillings, Mr. Speaker. Cartels had taken over. Farmers did not have even where to deliver their coffee. Many of the public and cooperative mills, Mr. Speaker, had closed shop because they could not meet their obligations. Many people had ventured into other ventures. Today, as we speak here, Mr. Speaker, one of the biggest requests that I receive for support from young people from the parts of my county that grow coffee, Mr. Speaker, is to support them to set up a coffee farm, Mr. Speaker, because they are seeing that they are realizing better prices, there is better market for them, Mr. Speaker, and there is assured pay for them. We must appreciate what is being done in the rural economy of this country. That is why many of us were happy when the president spoke passionately about revving up our agriculture to ensure that we just don't have an agriculture that is rain-fed, Mr. Speaker, but we have more irrigation-based agricultural farms across our county, Mr. Speaker, so that we reduce on the issue of importation of food. Because if you reduce that, Mr. Speaker, it means that the money that we'll have otherwise have paid to import rice, to import sugar, to import maize, Mr. Speaker, to import dairy products, and reaching farmers from other parts of the globe, Mr. Speaker, that money remains here in the country, powering up our rural economy, Mr. Speaker. That is what this bill is about. You know, many times, Mr. Speaker, people speak a lot of things in the social spaces where some of us spend and dwell most of our time in, Mr. Speaker, until we forget that 70 to 80% of the people that vote for us to come to this house are actually rural-based, Mr. Speaker. And that the biggest employer in this country is the agriculture subsector. Many people practice farming, Mr. Speaker, as a means and as a source of livelihood. Therefore, we cannot claim to be the House of Representatives, Mr. Speaker, if we don't speak to agriculture issues. This is the main reason why we exist, Mr. Speaker. Until the day we sort out all our farmers, including those that continue to complain, including dairy farmers, Mr. Speaker. The county that we represent in this house, the county of Bomet, is one of the leading dairy producers in this country. But you know that they continue to struggle with off-takers and they have to take their milk only all the way to Sotik, where the new KCC factory is. And you understand that since the transition, for example, of the former CEO, farmers have stayed for 2 to 3 months now without pay. This is the 4th month, Mr. Speaker. We must find a way, Mr. Speaker, until agriculture works, nothing else will work in this country, Mr. Speaker, because it's the largest source of livelihood for many of our people. And we will ensure, Mr. Speaker, that we sort everybody, including the carrot farmers of Nyandarua, where Senator Methu comes from. Every form of agriculture must work, Mr. Speaker, so that our farmers can be proud, ply their trade. I have shared an experience that I had many years ago when I visited one of the states in the United States of America, Mr. Speaker. We were about to board a plane, and I saw a very interesting notice. They said, in this state, we queue without consideration to class, race, religion, or sexual orientation, except the military, servicemen and women, and the farmers that feed us in this state. And if you come and are able to demonstrate that you are one of the key farmers in that state, Mr. Speaker, you don't queue with the rest of others. Until we become a country that values farmers to that level, Mr. Speaker, we cannot claim to be a country that listens to the cries of its own people. There are many farmers, Mr. Speaker, who are still battling the issue of markets. And that's one of the key things that is being addressed in this bill for coffee farmers, to ensure that when they consolidate, Mr. Speaker, the issue of marketing and licensing was one of the key things that led us to mediation, Mr. Speaker. Because the National Assembly, the mode of licensing agreements they were proposing to our farmers was not going to work, Mr. Speaker. Because we didn't want a centralized licensing unit just here in Nairobi. Why should my people in Kipkelion come all the way to Nairobi, Senator Wakoli, to be licensed? And I must commend you guys in the Agriculture Committee who put your foot down and said agriculture is largely devolved. If we want to license our coffee farming units, Mr. Speaker, and the cooperatives, let it be done at the county level. And I am happy that sense eventually prevailed. I have seen the copy of the mediated version, that was the finally agreed upon position. That is the beauty of our constitution, Mr. Speaker, that it appreciates that there are two levels of government, and that is the beauty of this House of the Senate. That's why, Mr. Speaker, even if you gave me for free to be a member of the National Assembly, I will never take it. I am proud to be a senator, Mr. Speaker, because I know that the future of Kenya is devolution. If we protect devolution, if we ensure that it thrives, Mr. Speaker, the way this coffee bill does by empowering our cooperative unions, Mr. Speaker, you are actually securing the future of our republic. Therefore, I thank you, Senator Wakoli, and the Agriculture Committee that made all those amendments that, Mr. Speaker, scuttled the plant that the National has had actually on centralizing many of these proposals in this bill, Mr. Speaker, that you made them to realize and appreciate that there are two levels of government, that there is a county government and there is a national government, Mr. Speaker. And we cannot claim, Mr. Speaker, and turn a blind eye on the injustice that was about to be meted on the county governments, Mr. Speaker. That is what we proudly do in this House. Every afternoon from 2:30 to 6:30 when we meet, we speak, Senator Mtata, for the interest of the people that we represent in this House. And you must be proud of yourself as a senator. Anytime you stand up to the National Assembly and tell them, we are not about to get out of this town until the day it sinks into your heads that there are units of government called the county governments, which are equal, Mr. Speaker. They may not have as many resources as the national government has, but they are governments just like any other, Mr. Speaker. And we that have the power to legislate on their behalf must never derelict on duty, Mr. Speaker, and leave them to struggle the way sometimes we do. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I appreciate what is being done to our coffee farmers. Mr. Speaker, I know that as we do this, Mr. Speaker, it is under the full realization that once we set up the licensing units, Mr. Speaker, and the board for them, it is my utmost hope, Mr. Speaker, that the levy that will be collected will be used actually to better the lives of the coffee farmers and not anybody else. We passed a sugar bill here, Mr. Speaker, and we didn't pay very close attention to the stratification that you did on how the sugar levy funds are going to be used. I hope Senator Wakoli, and perhaps this is more to Senator Mofaya, because the regulations will come from the ministry, Senator Mofaya Gataya, that they will pay a keen attention to ensure that 70 to 80% of these funds that are collected go back actually, one, to research, two, to establish better markets for our coffee, and three, to provide seed for our coffee farmers so that we have as many people plant, Mr. Speaker, and earn from this trade as is possible. You remember, Mr. Speaker, that we are actually on the race to 15 billion trees. The national rallying call that the President has given us, the target to achieve by 2032, I believe, Mr. Speaker. Planting more coffee seedlings, like is being proposed here, Mr. Speaker, is one of the ways, because coffee bushes, Mr. Speaker, are just forests like any other, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, there are many reasons to support our coffee farmers and be appreciative of what this bill has done. The only thing that breaks my heart, Mr. Speaker, is that we made a request yesterday, Senator Mungatang, to our colleagues to hang around to ensure that we conclude on this business. But they have deserted us, including people who represent coffee farmers, who you'll find in funerals, Mr. Speaker, claiming how the government has done nothing, as if William Ruto is supposed to come to this house and pass the laws, Mr. Speaker. You know, we must be serious, Mr. Speaker, on how we take our duties also. How can it be that when this mediated version was completed on Tuesday, because that is when these two committees agreed, National Assembly were able to table theirs that same afternoon. I tried to get Senator Wakoli to table ours that afternoon, but you were told, I don't know, the clerk who was responsible had disappeared where. This is feedback for you, Chania, and the clerk's table. Why is it that those in the National Assembly were able to conclude and table theirs the same afternoon? Ours, we had to wait until yesterday. And you know, we had an impeachment motion, and therefore we couldn't table. By yesterday afternoon, colleagues from the Assembly concluded on this business. Now they will be proudly walking around in the village in Meru and telling you, Senator Kaduri, that they have done their part. It is this Senate that is delaying us. And you know how National Assembly love doing that kind of, pulling those kind of antics. I'm disappointed, Mr. Speaker, by what our colleagues have done for us. I hope that should there be reason for there to be a special sitting, Mr. Speaker, I will list this as part of the business that we transact on that particular day. Of course, hoping that many of the colleagues will have had the opportunity to speak to it. And in fact, it is on that reason, Mr. Speaker, that I want to yield the floor, looking at the clock and knowing that we have barely an hour to conclude on this business before I come up, Mr. Speaker, to move the adjournment motion. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader, while you are contributing on the benefits of the amendments to the law as regards sugar, you said that the sugar farmers are the ones who are spoiling Kapsoit market. Yeah. I hope you meant that they are the ones who are actually recreating and supporting the economic activities and not spoiling.
No, I said, Mr. Speaker, previously, if you go to Kapsoit, and you know Kapsoit very well, it is the tea farmers from Belgut, Kabianga, Sosiot, all that area, who will quote-unquote spoil the table, if you know what I mean. But as it is today, because there is no bonus, Mr. Speaker, we were paid only 12 shillings. We are now being taken care of by the sugarcane farmers who come down from Zoin and Soliat and Kipsitet area, Mr. Speaker, because they are being paid weekly because of how well the sugarcane industry is doing currently.
The beauty of the law that you passed in the House. Now, Honorable Senators, that was the leader of majority. It was for the benefit of Senator Karen Nyamu that I needed to inform her that though she was ahead of the queue, hierarchy demanded that the leader of majority must contribute before her. And now I call upon the Deputy Speaker to also make his comments to this particular motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity also to make a few comments on this bill, this mandated bill. Mr. Speaker, you know, when I was growing up in a village in Meru, we used to use coffee vouchers for our education. We used to take coffee to the factories, and then we were given money for school fees. So most of the people of my age and those who went to school in the 70s and 80s benefited. But in the 90s, Honorable Speaker, things started going south. The coffee prices plummeted, and there was no money for farmers. And where I come from, most of the farmers uprooted their coffee and went to grow bananas and other crops that could give them good money. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that this time round, the current government, the Kenya Kwanza government, has made sure that the coffee prices have now gone back to where we were. In Meru, the highest coffee factory actually got almost 150 shillings per kg in the last season. the lowest may be and around 60 shillings. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a revolution that has come back. And personally, as a coffee farmer, as a senator representing coffee farmers, I'm very happy that we are where we are. And this bill, we have really waited for this bill to be finalized by the both houses so that we could get this opportunity for the accent by the president. So coffee prices are now high, we are happy. And also this bill, I think, has also dealt with the cartels in the coffee industry. Mr. Speaker, you know, we have farmers who are still processors, who are still marketers, who are exporters, who are in the business from A to Z. One person does all the business. So I'm happy that maybe this bill also has been able to make sure that we have the licensing regime so that we have people in the exchange market who are just direct exporters and who look for the market in the United States and the countries that take coffee. Actually, honorable senators and Mr. Speaker, Kenyan coffee is the best in the world market. And the people run for this coffee, our brand in the market. But unfortunately, you know, in Kenya, we export berries, actually the green coffee. Then we give this coffee to other guys out there who usually go to roast, and then they market that coffee under their own brands. So, Mr. Speaker, it will be also very good so that also value addition can be encouraged so that we export our coffee after we do value addition. If this government can be able to go to that notch so that our people can be able to process the coffee, even they roast it, and they package and sell as Kenyan coffee, that will be very, very important, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know, sometimes when the prices are low, it is also important that the government introduces a stabilization fund so that the farmers can be able to get a good price. I was up yesterday, the CS Agriculture actually mentioned that in tea sector, before 2027, farmers will be earning up to 100 shillings per kg of green tea, or the tea that we take to the buying centers. Mr. Speaker, that will be a revolution again. So I want to thank the President and the government of the Kenya Kwanza that we have been able to stabilize the tea, now coffee, now milk also, Mr. Speaker. I'm happy that where I come from also we are trying to see, and the government has supported the Mount Kenya Dairy factory, or the Mount Kenya Dairy, so that they can have a factory which will be able to give farmers their own animal feeds, Mr. Speaker. So if we have stabilized coffee and tea, and now milk, and now we are encouraging also farmers to do pyrethrum and cotton, then Kenya economy is pure agriculture. And therefore this, Mr. Speaker, this has given us leverage to make sure that farmers are able to get good returns. Mr. Speaker, you know most of the coffee factories in Meru and other areas, they are incurred a lot of debts in the previous years when the coffee prices were down. And there was a discussion that there will be a waiver for coffee debts. Mr. Speaker, so many farmers, so many coffee societies are asking when will this happen, because they have applied through the Ministry of Cooperatives. They have requested for that waiver. There is the cherry fund that was to assist them, but up to date, nothing progressive has happened. So I wish to request the Ministry of Cooperatives to make sure that these debts are waived so that our farmers can be able to benefit from what they are doing. Then another thing, during the last regime, the previous government, they had introduced a fund or a support so that the coffee factories, I know where you come from, Bomet, Kericho, and other areas, the coffee factories are just down because most of them at the moment, even the trenches where they dry the coffee, their coffee, is just dilapidated. So, Mr. Speaker, there was a discussion, and the ministry that time and allocated money. There was a support from donor support and grant that all coffee societies were to be given grants to modernize their coffee factories. But I think that program, I don't know what happened. It is a discussion that I will be able to maybe to request the Minister of Agriculture to give an update on what happened to that fund, because all coffee factories were to be given grant up to 100 million, up to 60 million, so that they could be able to revitalize the factories. So that is another thing that can be addressed. I was happy last season, this growing season, this rainy season, that the new KPCU is encouraging farmers to plant coffee. And there is I think the last 1 month, almost 150,000 seedlings were brought to Meru County by the new KPCU. And the governor there in Meru, I saw him with the peers and cooperatives giving seedlings to farmers. This shouldn't be encouraged. Coffee farmers should be encouraged to increase their acreage so that they can be able to get these proceeds. Mr. Speaker, as we discuss this, once we sort all these agricultural sectors, then especially where I come from, we really need also the government to address the plight of Mira farmers. Mira farmers have been abandoned. They are just on their own. I was there last weekend in Adero Gaiti Ward. Farmers there, Mira farmers are crying. The kids are not going to school. The families are just separating. I was surprised that women could just come and say, I left my family because my husband is not able to give us food. So they were really demonstrating that they are leaving their families because of the poor prices of Mira, and the poor market that we have in the external market like Somalia and other countries. So, Mr. Speaker, if at all we do all these other sectors, let the government also look into the Mira market, the Mira sector, and now also the livestock sector. Where I come from, as one of the colleagues here, the Senator for Nandi said, the last 2 weeks we have experienced a lot of problems in banditry. People from our boundaries, in the borders of Meru, from Isiolo, Turkana, Samburu, they have come to our county in drafts. Every day they are moving away, they are running away with hundreds and thousands of livestock. So, Mr. Speaker, I've also addressed that matter in this House severally. The first, during the Kenya Kwanza regime, the CS, Professor Kedura Kediki, was in Interior, came to this House not once, not twice, not thrice, to address the issue of banditry in our borders with Samburu and Isiolo. The last 3 weeks, the CS also for Interior was in this House still to address the same matter. But, Mr. Speaker, nothing is happening. We are getting promises after promises. I don't know what happened to the banditry that in West Pokot, in Baringo, in Samburu, those people are not crying as much as we are crying today. You know, unfortunately or fortunately, as Meru, we don't do cattle rustling. We are very docile community. We are not aggressive. We are not aggressors. But our neighboring communities just come to Meru. They say they are coming to the ATM in Meru, where they are just kill 10 people and run away the livestock. That is what they call, they are going to Meru, to the ATM in Meru. So, Honorable Speaker, where you sit, maybe you can also guide that the ministry in charge of security. Because if people can die, like bandits can kill 10 people in a day, the following day they come again and kill another 5 people, including armed NPR, who are armed with the government in guns. So, Mr. Speaker, we are really suffering, and I'm standing from this House to request the government of the Republic of Kenya, which we serve diligently, which we support as Meru community, just to come and help us, Mr. Speaker, so that we can be able to address this matter in Meru. So, Mr. Speaker, with all those remarks, I want to thank you for the opportunity, but I really request the government to look into Meru in another high so that we can be able to sort out the banditry issues in Meru County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Oki.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this all-important bill. The report of the Mediation Committee. I stand to congratulate the committee for having pulled off the mediation and having come to a point whereby the coffee bill is on the way to becoming a coffee act. Coffee is one of the most important crops in the world. It's a global crop, one of the major commodities traded in the world commodity markets, and therefore it has got a global bearing. Coffee has been affected like any other crop by climate change, and we have seen yields reducing. We have seen loss of interest in farming by the youth because it's not profitable. And so as we pass this bill, I would like to say, government, when this bill becomes law, I would like to see government coming up with policies and regulations that encourage and reward coffee farming. We must look at the tax regimes. We must look at incentives. We are talking of expanding this crop to other parts, which are good for growing the crops like Western Kenya, Nyanza, and the like. When that expansion is done, let us have some proper regulation in the industry, let us have some discipline, and let us have the farmer at the center of this enterprise. How much does the farmer take home at the end of the day? We have an agriculture industry that manufactures poverty. People toil, people work very hard. At the end of the day, it's the middlemen who make the money. The farmers don't make the money. I would like to see an improvement in coffee when this law is rolled out to ensure that the farmer is the focus of government. And if there are cartel networks or any formations that get the farmer to the periphery and go away with the fat of their labor, such organizations or such formations are deliberately dealt with and extinguished. Agriculture is becoming very unattractive in this country. Critical and important as it is becoming very, very unattractive because of those poor yields and poor returns that the farmers make. You have seen the challenges in the maize sector, where farmers sometimes have ended up with a maize they can't sell because when they try to sell it at what the market is trying to offer after dumping, it becomes a problem. For coffee, I think we should also need to go further and begin having proper brands of Kenyan coffee out there. We should stop being producers of a primary, of a raw material that benefits other people. Kenyan coffee is highly priced, but you find that the benefits of that coffee has not been realized. So I would like to see a situation whereby the government deliberately comes up with a coffee brand that it can promote both locally and internationally, quality coffee, Kenyan coffee, just like we talk of Ethiopian coffee. There's no reason why we can't have Kenyan coffee that is properly promoted, properly branded, properly marketed. There have been comments about sugarcane, creating a very rosy picture about sugarcane. I don't know whether those comments were referring to Kenya or they were referring to another country, because my experience with the sugar industry is that there are major challenges in the sugar industry.
The privatization was basically a theft by those who are in good terms with whoever is controlling the state, or whoever are controlling the state, and were facilitated to take over lands and take over coffee, to take over industry. Monopolies are being created. Confusion is the order of the day in the sugar industry. And if you look at even the management of the industry, the sugar industry, there has been a lot of environmental degradation. You look at people who are doing the factories, you don't see the roads being maintained the way they used to be maintained. I would have loved a model that was there when Mumias Sugar Company was a blue chip company, whereby what was privatized was management, not ownership. I don't see a reason why there was a rush to do what was done without proper studies, without proper public participation. We've got the cases of Miwani, Muhoroni, Nzoia, all are facing confusion. People who supplied, contractors who have been supplying those companies, especially like Nzoia, many have not been paid, were just chanted out, and companies who have handed over to new owners who have got no regard for these people who have been sustaining these companies. So painting a rosy picture here, like the majority leader has done and Senator Cherargei, I think is a bit dishonest to the people who are feeling the pressure or the impact of the reckless so-called privatization of the sugar industry. The whole program was done in a very reckless manner. Public assets have been taken for song. These lands had proper leases and they had proper commitments that were supposed to be met. And so the dividends to the host communities that the likes of Mumias gave are now a pipe dream. Maybe because sugar is new in some areas, those areas are excited by this new crop. But those areas which have been growing sugar in Nyanza and in Western Kenya have a sour taste in the mouth, because the privatization was aimed at enriching a few well-connected individuals who have invested in the industry. It was not aimed at benefiting the farmers. If you look at the model that Mumias had when it was under Bugatet, the purpose was to create a catalyst for the region, an economic catalyst for the region. And that's why the sugar industry had so many things it did. When you go back to taxation, we still have a lot of taxes in sugar. The farmers are overtaxed, and they hardly have enough to take home at the end of the toil. People are farming because of lack of options. They are farming this crop. And then, of course, we have not yet dealt with the question of dumping sugar in this country that have devastated the industry. So I think that the rosy picture that has been painted here, they cannot stand the test on the ground. Right now, there are motions before the committees. I personally requested for a statement on the privatization. It has taken very long to get anything out of government. Up to now, I think the minister has not shown up to try and own up to what they did. And so until that is done and a proper report is brought to this House from the Committee on Agriculture on the privatization of the sugar factories in Nyanza and Western, I think it would be proper for us not to jump ahead of everybody and begin lauding what's going on. Some issues are too important to be left to political sloganeering. It may be interesting to come up with a political slogan and maybe cheer and sing about things, but we must realize that people are living, real people are being affected by some of these reckless policies that are being made, and so we must come in and look at it. The question of coffee, if I go back to the coffee issue, I would like to see a policy how government is going to address the question of pricing. How government is going to ensure that the coffee farmer, just like any other farmer in Kenya, the farmer in sugarcane, farmer in tea, and all the other cash crops, is protected from the fluctuations in world markets. Is there any plan to have something like a coffee bank or something whereby the government can guarantee the farmers that it will take the crop at a certain price and ensure that it can hold on to the whatever merchandise and make sure that it gets proper markets for the farmers? Otherwise, if we leave the farmer exposed to market forces, the coffee enterprise might turn out to just be another sad affair. We remember that it's not long ago that people began uprooting their coffee plantations in some parts of this country because of poor returns, and we must avoid going there. So as we move out of the AFA, which I agree with the second of the motion that AFA was a big mistake, and return back to the crop-specific acts. We have had now the Sugar Act, we now have the Coffee Act. We take the opportunity to follow through and ensure that when government is implementing this law, it does it in a manner that it brings incentives. We must also look at the products that come out of coffee. What are the other possible products that come out of coffee that can improve the earnings of the farmer? We have talked of coffee being like a tree and a forest. I would like to see, can there be a connection between coffee plantations and maybe carbon credits, so that people commit their land to coffee, do not just wait for the berry, but they can also earn from other things that are available globally. Those kind of incentives, those kinds of interventions, for me, would really contribute to making this crop attractive, making this crop an enterprise that young people will find worthwhile investing in. We have the coffee research stations. An area that is very weak in this country is research and development. How are we going to ensure that we have properly resourced the research institutions to come up with smart crops that can deal with the changes in the environment? Because coffee thrives within a certain environmental conditions which are being altered. How much are we going to dedicate to research and development to ensure that we develop the kind of strands of crop that can withstand the changes in the climate and be able to remain profitable? Finally, we also need to look at consumption of coffee. The average Kenyan takes tea, because coffee was a thing promoted in a way that tea was the thing for the local people and coffee was for others. So how do we also encourage the drinking of coffee locally to ensure that we have enough local market, a big enough local market to ensure that the coffee farmer thrives? I would like to see policies come up to encourage the drinking of coffee, the taking of coffee, like it is done across the border in Ethiopia. There's a lot of coffee drinking. Locally here, we hardly see people taking coffee. In the comparative, when compared to tea, you'll find that tea is almost taken without even anybody asking about it. But coffee becomes now the crop that is taken by a certain category or certain times. I would like to see that encouragement come up, and maybe that should come up with our own local brands. We should not be having these foreign brands dominating our supermarket shelves. A local brand could come that could be encouraged locally, that could have the benefits, and maybe we see what is going to happen. Finally, I would like to say, Mr. Speaker, as we talk about this crop and in other crops, I would love to see proper soil testing and environmental analysis, and a crop map. Can we get a crop map for this country? A map whereby I can know that if I'm in part A of Kenya, this is the kind of soil I expect, this is the kind of crops I can grow, and these are the kind of inputs I may need to be able to succeed in farming. You find we have scanty information about this country in terms of the crops that can be grown where, at what time, and with that kind of what kind of inputs. So I would love that among the rolling out of this thing, the coffee, let us invest also in outreach or extension services, and the research must go beyond just coming up with the crops and also coming up with the analysis of soils and the climates that are available to ensure that we are able to get this country properly on the track to being a major coffee producer, a major industry player globally in terms of coffee, and also to be able to see that our youth look at farming as an option in terms of livelihoods because it is rewarding. And we also invest in modern machinery and modern technologies for agriculture so that we don't maintain the back-breaking practices of farming, but we move into some modern means of farming that embrace appropriate technologies to be able to push our farmers forward. And I pray that the same be done for all the crops that are growing in this country. And just as this country is being decimated by practices that are not good, mismanagement, I would pray that the people responsible for these crops take it upon themselves to ensure that they understand they're dealing with livelihoods of people, and whatever they do, they should do to advance the prosperity of the farmer and the prosperity of the country. And with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I can say Senator Mgatana would like to contribute, so I'll be magnanimous. And Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks I support and I congratulate the Mediation Committee. Thank you.
Senator Okiya Omtata, the remarks are actually not few. You have done very well. You did 19 minutes out of 20 that are allowed to you, I believe. Senator Mungatana.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I also want to thank the committee that sat to mediate the Coffee Bill, Senate Bill number 10 of 2023. Mr. Speaker, the first point I want to make is that every bill that goes to mediation, it always becomes better than its original fashion. The text is always richer when the National Assembly and the Senate sit together through committee to make a bill that has come either from the Senate or from the National Assembly to be better than its original text. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope this is continued, especially for bills that are sensitive, that are coming from the agricultural sector. Mr. Speaker, this brings me to the question of what happened to our legislative move to amend the Constitution so that all the bills that emanate from the National Assembly should be coming here at the Senate, not just selective. And the reason is that, like this coffee bill now, you can see, Mr. Speaker, that the text that went into it finally, at the end, it had consideration for matters county. You know, Mr. Speaker, to hear that our coffee farmers were required to be coming to Nairobi for a centralized licensing process, Mr. Speaker, that was ridiculous. But I thank the mediation team that they were able to make now consideration for county centers. And Mr. Speaker, this means that the requirement, that the push that this Senate had to make sure that all the bills come to the Senate is not for the sake of Senate, but it's for the sake of making sure that quality bills, such as this one, come at the end of the day. The second point I want to make, Mr. Speaker, which is in regard to this bill, is about research and development. Mr. Speaker, this bill has talked at length about research, coffee research. And Mr. Speaker, this is a brilliant development. Mr. Speaker, Kenya, through the National Research Fund, has aimed, and all other stakeholders have aimed at getting 2% of the GDP into research. But Mr. Speaker, if you look at the figures to date, Kenya is doing 0.8% of the GDP. And yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I had opportunity to talk to the Vice Chancellor of Kenyatta University, and he told me, even if you people can push it to 1%, we will appreciate, because research is what creates development. Research is what answers local questions, Mr. Speaker. Research is what pushes innovation, Mr. Speaker, pushes the country forward. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to dwell on this question of research, especially because, Mr. Speaker, recently I also came out with the PhD degree, and I know what it is to have research and funding. Many people, Mr. Speaker, who are brilliant minds are not able to carry out their PhDs, are not able to carry out even their master's program because there's no funding for R&D in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, research and development is critical for this country to make steps forward. I want to congratulate His Excellency the President because, Mr. Speaker, during his speech in Sona, he talked at length about increasing the amount of money that is payable for research and development. He committed, Mr. Speaker, to increasing the money, and I thank the President because he is also a PhD holder. He was not conferred that through, some other reason. He worked on it, and he knows the importance of research. So I was very proud, Mr. Speaker, to see His Excellency the President taking up this matter of research and saying that the government of Kenya now is going to put this thing as a priority and increase the money. And Mr. Speaker, this bill in this mediated version talks about Coffee Research Institute. It talks about the various research centers that are set across the country. Mr. Speaker, there are very many variety of coffees. And the research, Mr. Speaker, is going to cover from development variety, leaf testing, Mr. Speaker, testing of the actual product, Mr. Speaker, even disease control. This money, Mr. Speaker, if it is put there, this Research Institute for Coffee, Mr. Speaker, is what is going to make Kenya's coffee stand out there, Mr. Speaker. And I pray that with us as members of the National Assembly and the Senate, having done our part, the people who are going to execute these ideas that were developed here are going to do them well. We need well-researched programs, well-researched coffee products. Why, Mr. Speaker? Because we need value addition. Mr. Speaker, value addition is critical. And I want to tell this House and the Republic of Kenya, those who are listening to me, the country known as Indonesia, they passed a law that you cannot export raw materials out of that country, Mr. Speaker. You can't. You have to do value addition. If there is a country out there, if there's an investor out there who wants their products, they must come and put money there so that the employment is created within their country. But more important, the value addition would make sure that the products that are coming out of Indonesia are going to be highly valued. So, Mr. Speaker, this brings me to the point about this coffee institute, the research institute. I'm saying that yes, we need to do research. Yes, we need to fund this research, and we need to do it like yesterday, because we need value addition on our coffee. Mr. Speaker, we need the Kenyan coffee to have a brand. When people, they hear Kenya coffee, Mr. Speaker, they know what kind of a brand it is. Mr. Speaker, I was surprised. I sit in the, as you know, Mr. Speaker, I sit in the African Parliament on behalf of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, when I was there in the last session, I had people talk about Uganda coffee, Ethiopia coffee, and Kenya coffee. And I was surprised because in my mind, I thought that the Arabica coffee from Kenya was the best in the world. Just to hear that even our neighbors are also doing a lot of research, putting a lot of money to compete with us. So, Mr. Speaker, this particular mediated version of the coffee bill and the fact that they are strengthening research is a big win for coffee in this republic. We need to put money in research, Mr. Speaker. We need to make our coffee better than our competition, our neighbors, and even across the continent, so that Kenya's coffee can be outstanding. And I'm glad that the mediation team, National Assembly and the Senate were able to capture this issue in its entirety. Mr. Speaker, I need to say one last thing, which is a third and final point. That in as much as we celebrate this mediated bill, in as much as we celebrate that coffee now is going to be better managed, the law and the regulations are coming out of this coffee amendment bill are going to be better at making the industry function, I want to remind Kenyans who are listening to me and the executive led by His Excellency the President that other counties also have other cash crops that need equal attention. Mr. Speaker, this country from independence has been known to just talk about coffee, and then it goes to sugar, and then it goes to tea, and some time ago, they used to talk about pyrethrum. Mr. Speaker, many other crops exist, but they are not given the kind of support that this government should to those crops. We saw the collapse of cashew nut industry, Mr. Speaker, in the coast. Kilifi Cashew Factory, Mr. Speaker, was employing hundreds of farmers who used to depend on that factory, Mr. Speaker. Hundreds, in fact, thousands of farmers. Every person would have their normal farm and they would have a cashew nut tree somewhere. Mr. Speaker, the government left it to die, and many people went to cut their cashew nut tree, Mr. Speaker. And now that business is over. When we speak about how Malindi and Kilifi used to be a home for cashew nut, Mr. Speaker, the children that are born, our children, they cannot even associate us with cashew nut farming. Coconut growing in the coast, Mr. Speaker. I remember when I was in the lower house, I pushed to the point where I got the second reading for the coconut bill. And I remember Salikos Gay, the then Minister for Agriculture, coming to me to tell me, we as a government want to take over this bill because we have a bigger plan and what, explained to me all manner of things. Honorable Minister then took over the bill. But at the end of it, Mr. Speaker, we only got an executive order setting up the coconut board. But the law that came out, even after taking up my own law, Mr. Speaker, did not give the coconut the support it needed. But bringing it home, Mr. Speaker, we have the mango in Tana River County, Mr. Speaker. There are many people who depend on that mango. And Mr. Speaker, there are many mango farmers along the River Tana who for many years outside the normal other crops, Mr. Speaker. Because the other crops are for food. But mango was taken to be the crop that will bring you cash. The mango farmers, everyone knew that when the season comes, the lorries would come to our farms in Tana River and take those mangoes to Malindi, Mr. Speaker, and make sure that the farmers would be happy at that time. School fees would be obtained, Mr. Speaker. Houses would be built. Marriages would be conducted. It's a happy season. But, Mr. Speaker, what has the government done to support mango farmers in Tana River County? Zero, Mr. Speaker. All the efforts we have made to speak to this government, to speak to previous governments, none has yielded anything, Mr. Speaker. And it is sad that this government has gone out of its way, Mr. Speaker, and supported sugar with regulations, with legislation, has supported tea with regulations, with legislation, has supported coffee with this law and other laws, but has forgotten about the mango farmer in Tana River County. Mr. Speaker, it is time that something be done. The one effort that was made was to create a factory through the Coast Development Authority in Hola. But, Mr. Speaker, there was no infrastructure to support that that mango processing factory. The president himself came and launched that factory, Mr. Speaker. I was there. But the infrastructure to support the farmers is non-existent. The government has not collected seedlings, has not organized cooperatives. It is just traditional mango trees, Mr. Speaker, that are not even producing enough mangoes to sustain production over a long period of time. Mr. Speaker, while I celebrate the coffee farmers, while I celebrate tea growing areas, while I celebrate the farmers in sugarcane growing areas, we also want to express our disappointment at the fact that agro-based industries like the coffee, like the mango, has not been supported by government in any way in Tana River County. And, Mr. Speaker, we need to be a country of equity. We need to be fair to this nation. We must not do what the colonialists did. What the colonialists did was to support only what they called areas of high potential where they themselves lived. They supported this so that they can export to Britain and earn some money themselves. But they forgot about the rest of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, we must shun away from the sessional paper number 10 of 1965, which talked about segregating Kenya by saying places like Tana River County and other counties that are in the drier areas of this country must be ignored and potential areas, what they call potential areas, be developed. These were areas that were occupied by Europeans. And, Mr. Speaker, more funding needs to go to supporting cash crops that will raise the standards of living of people in these other areas. And specifically, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying this government, for us to feel the same way that the coffee farmers are feeling, the same way the sugar farmers are feeling, the same way the tea growers are feeling, this government must also invest in the mango farming in Tana River County. Mr. Speaker, it is doable and it can be done. We have made proposals, we have been given promises, but our farmers are still waiting to see what this government can do. And I know that this president that we have is a person who, if he focuses on something, something will come out of it. So I'm using the floor of this Senate to make an appeal on behalf of the people of Tana River. The Tana River is not about those big irrigation we appreciate those big irrigation farms. But Mr. Speaker, those ones are not for locals. If you look properly, those who are investing in those big irrigation farms, they are not locals. The locals are growing the mango tree along the river basin. And those are the ones that have sent me here to say, Your Excellency, we need attention to the mango tree. We need to be assisted, just like you have assisted the other areas, and they are clapping for you, and they are saying it is good. We also need to be assisted in the one cash crop that is there in Tana River County. Mr. Speaker, if this cash crop is assisted to grow in the river basin of Tana River County, Mr. Speaker, many people will become rich. Many people, Mr. Speaker. This thing of selling a whole mango for 20 shillings, and then you come to Nairobi, not even 20 cents, not shillings. And then you come to Nairobi, you find the same mango going for 100 shillings, going for 50 shillings. Mr. Speaker, is exploitation of the highest level, Mr. Speaker. The same way we are saying that we've gotten rid of the brokers in coffee, the brokers in tea, the brokers in sugarcane, it's the same way. The government must come in, like it came in for these other crops, to assist the mango farmer in Tana River to get rid of the brokers and to help the farmers to get the benefit of the work they do. Mr. Speaker, the mango farmers do a lot of work, but there is no investment, no help, Mr. Speaker, from the government. So I support this bill, but I support with these feelings that must be taken, that Kenya must start being fair. It must start looking at all other sections of this republic. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Mungatana. Now I call upon Senator John Medu.
That we must have as Kenyans is the valuation at which the government is proposing to exit 15% stake in Safaricom. Because they want to sell per share at 34 shillings. And if you look at the recent past, including last week, Safaricom share touched even 30, past 30 last week. But in the last 5 years, and especially in 2021, Safaricom share was above 45 shillings in August of 2021. And when you are valuing on how to buy or sell a company, you as the seller must get the best deal in terms of the price. But it looks like the people who are representing the people of Kenya in government, in this discussion and sale, they actually sided with the buyers. And they decided to sell Safaricom for a song. Because the company that was trading at 45 shillings per share in 2021, the government is unashamedly telling Kenyans that they want to sell the same company at 34 shillings today. Most of the companies listed in the NSC as we talk are selling, and most of them, including banks, are selling past the 2021 levels. But now we want to give a discount based on the 2021 valuation of a 25% discount to the current buyers. And possibly this should be investigated. Why? Even after so many companies have been recording even 200% increase, Safaricom share even with the bullish market, has not matched many of the companies in terms of the rise in share price. Probably there was a deliberate suppression of the share. And what I want to say is that the government is underselling Safaricom, and it is to the detriment of all Kenyans. Secondly, the proposal, because I've been there and I have in some of these discussions before, and especially when Kenya was seeking to get optimal value for the stake. The best thing in terms of the sale of Safaricom was first of all to divide Safaricom into 3 companies. Before the sale, you have the telco as Safaricom, you have a tower company, and you have Safaricom Financial Services. Because once you do that divestiture, the sum of the 3 would by all means be bigger in terms of value than the whole that is called Safaricom. And therefore, the government just became quick because of next year's elections to undersell Kenyan assets, because they want they want Kenyans to see that something is being done in terms of development, but the cost is very high today and in the future. The other thing that is very funny about this transaction, and I pity the people in the government who represented the people of Kenya in this transaction and this deal. I've been talking about something called securitization, illegal debts. This deal of GOK sale of the stake of Safaricom also is riddled with the same illegal debts. Because beyond the consideration of 34 shillings per share, the government is doing something else that has never been done in the world. They are collecting dividends in advance. Basically, they are telling the sellers, the buyers, yes, pay us for our stake, but instead of negotiating a better price and value for Kenyans, they have already mortgaged the dividend that the National Treasury would have gotten in the next many years. 40 billion shillings out of the consideration is actually dividends collected in advance. In other words, securitizing dividends. It is important for Kenyans to know these things. And also, for Kenyans to know that the people we are sending to negotiate for us as Kenyans are either putting their self-interest first and therefore undercutting what we should get as value as Kenyans, or they are just plainly incompetent. On the same kind of sales and divestitures that have been happening, it is important for us as Kenyans to understand the difference, and the people in the National Treasury and government, to understand that there is a difference between privatizing a public organization or company and outright sale. Privatizing is when you give up even control for efficiency to percolate in the company. But the kind of thing we are seeing in Safaricom is not a privatization. It cannot pass as such. This is an outright sale, because already Safaricom was already a private company. It's not a parastatal. And therefore it is just purely for revenue raising that it is happening. The problem is, even as revenue raising, Kenyans are not getting value for their money, and Kenyans are not getting the appropriate price and valuation for Safaricom, for GOK stake in Safaricom PLC. And my brothers and sisters here from the media, I want to request you, because whatever happens in Kenya now will affect all of us. It is important we zoom into all the transactions that are happening in Kenya of late. I saw the other day a Tanzanian company with a Kenyan unit called Kalahari Cement buying the stake in East African Portland Cement that belonged to NSSF, again taking it for a song. Why is this massive interference with NSSF? That a person who is not Kenyan can see value in East African Portland Cement that NSSF, that is investing workers' resources, cannot see in a local company. We must be vigilant. Otherwise, within a very short time, we are all going to regret as Kenyans, because we'll have nothing to hold on to. Everything will have been torn down in terms of sold for nothing, and you'll have no fallback position. And on the same, I have been saying, and I want to repeat, there is a new jargon in town called infrastructure fund. Infrastructure fund is only two things, and Kenyans should know that. One was sale of Safaricom, which is now Adawi. Number two is more borrowing. So anyone who needs to know what infrastructure fund is, just keep on watching the lips of everyone talking about it and match with the actions. It is either sale of government assets at a discount, definitely, or more borrowing. And these things are important. And I don't think there is something more important than the economy of Kenya to all of us. Look at it this way. Kenya has already taken a loan using fuel levy. The money you pay for fuel levy has already been collected in advance for the next 7 years, and they want to take another one that will take us for the next 10 years. Meaning, the tax you are going to pay for the next 7 years has been collected today and spent. The unfortunate thing, and especially around that fund, is that local institutions, and especially banks, took part, and especially banks where GOK has a stake or controls. That we are collecting taxes because levy is like tax. The money that was to construct roads for the next 7 years has already been collected as we talk. I don't know whether I'm making sense, because you need to understand that because the government is looking at 2027 and nothing else, they are staking the future of this country in the name of elections. So we want to do everything that Kenyans can see. It doesn't matter whether we are getting into an abyss, and it doesn't matter whether we are going to recover from it. So we have taken fuel levy that was to be collected by Kenya for the next 7 years. That money has already been spent. Secondly, tourism fund has already been securitized or in the process of being securitized. The process has already kicked off. So when you see Bomas of Kenya coming up, that is again an illegal loan, because all this securitization business is illegal. I've been talking about Talanta Fund, and you may wonder why there is no person in government giving a rejoinder. Because if there are no facts, then you should give the facts as the National Treasury. That this year, we borrowed 44.5 billion Kenya shillings, where Kenya is going to pay an interest rate or an interest sum of 100 billion Kenya shillings in the next 15 years. Can you imagine that? Just because we want claps, now we take a loan of 44.5 billion shillings, where the government is going to pay interest rate quantum of 100 billion in 15 years. So the Talanta Stadium, you see, the cost is not 44.5 billion. And I've been repeating this, and I want to repeat. The real cost is over 140 billion Kenya shillings. So we need to ask ourselves as Kenyans whether these are the kind of decisions that we want made for our economy. Now, they're in the process now of securitizing your housing levy. That the housing levy Kenyans are paying, so that they remove the talk of whether it can be reduced or not. The government is again kicking off the process of securitizing. Securitizing is just a heavy word to confuse Kenyans. Of borrowing through mortgaging the housing levy. So they are collecting it in advance. Now, what this is doing to the economy, and it is deliberate, the government is running away from budget. They want to control development in another book called Infrastructure Fund. And I just want to repeat, infrastructure fund is only a composition of two things: sale of government assets, including Safaricom, and more borrowing. All the other hurabalo you hear, the bottom line is that. Now, let me interest you something else as I finish. As we talk with you here, Kenya is borrowing 1.25 trillion Kenya shillings in the official book of loans. 1.25 trillion Kenya shillings per year in the official loan book. So Kenya is borrowing 3.5 billion shillings every day, including today. By end of today, Kenya will have borrowed a net of 3.5 billion. And a net here, I mean, I have not included the money the government is borrowing to pay previous loans. That is called refinancing. I have not added. The figure I am giving is purely net debt. To put it into context, President Kibaki in his 10 years borrowed a net of 1.2 trillion Kenya shillings in 10 years. So we are borrowing in 1 year what Kibaki borrowed in 10 years. It is important for Kenyans to keep on knowing these things, because this kind of recklessness cannot go for too long. And we have very recent case scenarios. We have Senegal, which is now in red. 2 guys elected very popularly last year, Diomaye Faye and Osman Sonko, themselves hata hawasikizani wenyewe. Because by the time they took over, there were illegal debts like securitization amounting to 13 billion US dollars. Illegal ones, taken off the book. Like Talanta Fund, like securitization, like securitization of dividends, like the government is doing in the sale of Safaricom, and the rest. We can learn from Zambia. We can learn from Sri Lanka that it is a slippery path we are taking our country into. We can learn from Ghana. Ghana was unable to service debts. So what did they do? They called all the government creditors and they told them, if you have lent the government $1 million shillings, either through buying a board or a T-bill, the government called them and told them, we no longer owe you 1 million. We owe you 70% of that. End of story. Can you imagine? So the route we are taking will definitely lead us there. And I'm calling upon the government. Let us not stake Kenyans' future on the general election in a year to come or so. There'll be Kenya after 2027. And Kenyans, ask yourself, why is the government, if you collect dividends for the next 5 years, so in the mind of government, there'll be no Kenya in the next 5 years or what? When you take fuel levy to be collected in Kenya for the next 7 years to build roads, are you telling us there'll be no roads in Kenya to be built? I have indicated that Kenya is borrowing 1.25 trillion shillings every year. But even the development that we are seeing, including the expansion of Nairobi-Nakuru Highway, we now have had to force NSSF to invest workers' resources in that road, while the government knows for sure it will never break even. Now that we are selling a stake in Safaricom, why can't the government provide that road for free to all the people in the western side of this country? Must we package it as a commercial project? Now that we have another source of the sale of Safaricom stake, why can't the government invest some of this money into a road, and especially Nairobi Mau-Summit Road? Why? That a Kenyan in the western part of this country, from Nakuru all the way, who pays pay, who pays VAT, who pays fuel levy, again is made by government to build their own road. Because paying toll is basically government abdicating its job to provide public goods and telling Kenyans, tumewaletea hawa watu mujisort mujenge nao barabara. That's basically what the government has done in that road. And we are going to keep on talking about this issue, that the people from Nakuru all the way deserve, like any other Kenyan, to use that road for free without tolling. Because we are borrowing every day. We are borrowing both in the book and off the book. We are now selling government stakes. Then why again make Kenyans to pay for the road? I have also heard the drums of every day. They are beaten about the expansion of the road from Pagani, Muthaiga, Kiambu, Duberi. And it has now come up again. I want to request you, my brothers and sisters, go to your own files in terms of the media files, previous ones. And you'll see that you covered the issue of the expansion of that road in 2021 and 2022. If you go to the files, even Google now, you realize that the expansion of Pagani, Muthaiga, Kiambu, Duberi Road was conceptualized and completed in 2022. But the government had to wait until we are near elections to beat the drums. The government should actually be apologizing to the people of Kiambu for delaying the road for 3 years, because that road was ready to be built in the last 3 years. But of course, the convenience of our politics had to have it delayed. Very lastly, now that we are selling stakes, and I want to tell you for sure, Safaricom PLC, the government is now selling 15%. You can be sure before elections, they will have sold the other stake, some of it. And I cannot actually tell you, some of it they will actually sell to NSSF. Because you don't need to have been inside government for you to learn how the government is thinking. The government is lazy to grow the economy. Because when you grow the economy, it is when you get revenues to support the growth of infrastructure. And since there is no growth in the economy, so we are now looking for shortcuts. And I can tell you for sure, this is just the beginning. They'll divest even from the other stake, because no one wants to bother. Hakuna mtu anataka kuchoka kufikiria akifanya maamuzi. Naona Safaricom iko pesa uza. You now hear about selling a stake in KCB, where the government has around 19%. Very soon you'll also hear the same in the energy sector. And that's not even the problem. The problem is that we are selling these assets for a song. And I want to repeat because I am finishing. There is no way the government can purport to sell Safaricom at a valuation of less than 2.5 trillion. There is no way, other than if there is self-interest or incompetence on the side of government. And I have enumerated again, the best way was for the government, first of all, to foster divestiture within Safaricom, create 3 entities, value them separately, and then sell them separately if you have to sell. Very last, we are now on a drive. We are being taken on a rough drive of political messaging. These grand terms you are hearing, infrastructure fund and big money being mentioned, it is to make Kenyans not ask the basic questions. Before we are told about trillions and the rest, can the government first of all do the basics? We are now in December. The government, unless they recede, they have already purported to want to increase school fees for day scholars from January. So on one side, we are thinking about trillions. On the other side, you are abdicating from supporting free basic education. Our JSS brothers and sisters, they require very little money to be confirmed into permanent and pensionable terms. They already had a contract for 1 year to intern in the JSS institutions. But instead of addressing such a small issue, now we are doing political messaging by mentioning billions in infrastructure fund, so that Kenyans don't ask us real questions about real issues. It's like when you can go to your home today, Stephen Leto, and you call a baraza of your home or a mwaneki or Business Daily, you call a baraza at your home and you tell your kin or your family members that you want to go to the moon and you are going together with them. So they actually forget to ask you about food for that day because you've already sold a grandiose idea. Unfortunately, unfortunately, within a day or two, they start telling you, okay, we are still going, but where is food? So the basics for this country, one of the basics is basic education. Before we talk about all those other things, the government must give assurance through writing that day scholars in Kenya from January will get an opportunity to go to school without the handicap of finances, as it has been before. As I close, let me take you the last sentence on something else, because this grandiose communication of politics can make Kenyans get lost. Now, we are building highways to toll without any alternative. It has never happened in Kenya since independence. Because even where there is a toll road, there are alternatives. It is the first time in Kenya we are doing an experiment to have Kenyans pay for using a road and deny them an opportunity for an alternative. That's one. It is also the first time in Kenya we are doing off-the-book borrowing through Talanta Board and the rest. It is also the first time we are securitizing revenues to be collected by the country for the next many years. But we are sold a grandiose idea. This is the fact. Kenya has always built stadiums. We have Nyayo Stadium, we have Kasarani. We never took an illegal board, but Kenya built when the economy was quite small. Kenya has always had tarmac roads. Even where we are building the toll road from Nairobi to Nakuru, there is a road. Not that there is no road, there is. And it was built by Kenyans through taxes. And the government never had to take an illegal loan called securitization. You can live here in Nairobi, go to Isiolo, go to Marsabit, and go to Moyale border. There is a tarmac road there, smooth one, a highway. You don't pay to use. It was built by Kenyans, by the previous governments. You can live here, go to Hispania border all the way to Kuria in Migori. All the way it is tarmac. We never took an illegal loan. We never took a securitization. And when Kenya was a smaller economy, we still managed. You can live here and go all the way to Kitengela and go all the way to our border with Tanzania on the other side. Again, there is a tarmac road there. No grandiose communication from government. Government humbly built without making Kenyans to pay. You can live here, go to Mombasa. There is already a tarmac road. So what I'm saying, you know, the way the government is defending itself. Oh, we are doing these things to build roads. Okay, fine. All the other governments build roads, but they never took reckless loans and illegal loans. That's what we are saying. It's not the first time Kenya is building stadiums. We have always built stadiums or stadias. So that is my concern. And I request Kenyans of goodwill, including LSK, ISPAC, the civil society, and all leaders, including the media. The things we are talking about are apolitical from where I start. It doesn't matter who becomes what. But if you securitize future revenue, we are choking Kenya today and in the future. Please let us take this as our burden. Because we may champion for the freedoms of Kenyans, the way we do, like LSK does. But in a collapsed economy, there'll be nothing to talk about. So I challenge all of us, let us please do our bit, because the consequences of these things and experiments will be very dire for our economy. Thank you very much.
Very good elaboration that he was giving about mangoes. And I don't know whether Senator Mungatana, you actually appreciate the fact that even though potatoes are not grown in Nyandarua alone, we are the largest producer of potatoes in Nyandarua. And sadly, occasionally, in seasons that we are harvesting potatoes, like this season, 120 kilograms of potatoes, sometimes retail at 1,200. And when you come to Nairobi here, you are buying one plate of chips at not less than 500 shillings. And you can imagine the number of plates that would come from 120 kgs sack, Honorable Speaker. And then this then is the pain of the farmer. And Mr. Speaker, I'm very encouraged, and I want to congratulate and laud the Agriculture Committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, I know many colleagues have actually conversed on this matter, and I think I would also want to add my voice. 70% of the people who have been sent in this house, we have been sent by farmers. If we cannot speak and improve the agricultural subsector, there's no way we can grow our economy. There's no way we can say that we are taking Kenya to, I think, the levels of Singapore, or take it to a faster world, if we cannot improve our agriculture. Because, Mr. Speaker, sir, you yourself come from Bomet. You know, Bomet is a leading county in production of milk. If your farmers cannot access market, milk is extremely perishable, and they cannot access a market for their milk. It does not matter how much they produce. It will not be important, and it will not be helpful. The utility of that milk to the farmer will be very low. It is the same case, especially for those who are unfortunate to produce perishable products, Honorable Speaker. Just the other day, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, I was very saddened, extremely saddened, that a farmer has done so much work. They have taken care of their cow. They have taken milks to the collection points, but vehicles cannot leave deep places like Shamata in Nyandarua, a leading producer of milk, just because the roads are in very bad state. This is something that should not happen in a country that speaks of taking off or going to the next level. There's no way, Mr. Speaker, we shall go to the next level where, when I was growing up, we were pushing tractors so that they can be able to make it to the collection points. And that same story is happening 25 years after we were pushing them that time. But I want to congratulate the Committee on Agriculture, more specifically on this coffee bill, and this mediated version of the coffee bill, Mr. Speaker, because it will be one step at a time, one crop at a time. We may not be able to address all of them at a go, but if we address one, then we shall not be addressing it next time we are dealing with the next bill, Honorable Speaker. That is why I'm very encouraged that if you are done with the coffee today, Mr. Speaker, I know tomorrow, I'm sure the Chairman Committee of Agriculture is aware that we have a draft of the potato bill, Mr. Speaker, which was introduced in this House by our first Senator, the Honorable Engineer Muriuki Karue, on this House, Mr. Speaker, and it was passed in the Senate, but unfortunately, it didn't see the light of the day at the National Assembly, Mr. Speaker. But we shall keep conversing, we shall keep working, we shall keep pushing, because, Mr. Speaker, if we cannot fix our agriculture, we shall not take any pride in having served the people of Kenya the way we are supposed to serve them, Mr. Speaker. Ask yourself, as you sit on that chair, Mr. Speaker, were it not for agriculture, how would our parents have taken care of us? How would our parents have taken care of us, Mr. Speaker? Most of them not learned. Most of them never got an opportunity to work in white-collar jobs, Mr. Speaker. My mother, I think, she tells me that she was not able to go past CPE of those days, Mr. Speaker. So therefore, they could not be able to achieve, and they could not be able to get white-collar jobs, Mr. Speaker. They have been able to take care of many children. I wish Senator Thango was here. Senator Thango will tell you that he's number 13 in a family of 13, and they have been brought up by their mother just because their mother had a few coffee bushes at home, Madam Speaker. So therefore, it tells you that if we improve on agriculture, we shall be able to build our economy, we shall be able to take care of our families, and we shall be able to move, Honorable Speaker. And obviously, you also know that this space is the space that employs most of the people, Honorable Speaker. None of us will go to insurance, banking, and those kind of jobs, Honorable Speaker. Most of the people who end up in either production or even value addition of agricultural products, Honorable Speaker. So, Senator Wakoli and your team, congratulations. This is what we would want, and these are the debates that should actually take priority. And I'm very happy that it was there the first time, and we are debating on it now. It's unfortunate that maybe because we are just about to get to 6:30, we may not be able to vote like the National Assembly. But we shall have given our best. It was just introduced now, and we are speaking about it, Honorable Speaker. So just going to the substance of what I've seen in this particular bill, there is one component that I'm very, very, very encouraged and happy to speak about, that is found on Clause 2, Honorable Speaker, that county governments will collect, collate, and maintain a database to ensure there is ease of access of information on the coffee industry. Because, Honorable Speaker, what we suffer from, and it has been spoken aptly about by Senator Mungatana, sometimes is research, Honorable Speaker. There is no way, Honorable Speaker, in this time and era, we can be moving haphazardly. We don't know what coffee grows where, which quality grows where, how can we improve on the quality of coffee or any other product, Honorable Speaker. You know, Mr. Speaker, sir, since maybe the year 2000, that's like 25 years ago, the quality or the most celebrated or the quality of potatoes that is grown in most of the potato growing industries, potato growing counties, Honorable Speaker, is a potato brand that is called Shangi. For 25 years, we have never improved that brand. Initially, it was producing enough yields, Honorable Speaker. But as time goes by, as the acidity of the soil continues rising, obviously the yield and the harvest goes down. If we don't invest in research, Honorable Speaker, we shall not be able to move, and we shall not be able to advise our farmers correctly, and we shall not be able to supply, and we shall not be able to empower our farmers if we don't invest in research. It's just now that the Chair Committee on Agriculture, we were consulting with him, and he tells me that on a certain research, and I don't want to delve in that matter because it is a matter that is before his committee, that a certain research was carried out, including in your county in Bomet, Honorable Speaker, about the quality of potatoes that we produce. And, Honorable Speaker, the county governments are not aware. How, Mr. Speaker, do we intend to improve on quality if we do not corroborate our universities who have the tools of research in helping us do research and in helping us develop and get to understand how the quality of seeds that we are planting, the quality of produces that we are producing. So, Mr. Speaker, you just find it in a sensational newspaper item. I'm sure you are also shocked to see that farmers from Yadarwa, farmers from Bomet are selling poison to the rest of the people of Kenya. First of all, Mr. Speaker, if there are juicy and catchy issues that are included there that are very misleading. I went to that committee and I gave my evidence. Mr. Speaker, sir, I know my people. I am a farmer, I produce potatoes, Honorable Speaker. And the potatoes that I eat at home are the same potatoes that I sell. I don't have a separate kitchen garden that I plant potatoes to sell, and another small garden that I plant potatoes for my own consumption. And it is the same case for every farmer in Nyandarua. And I believe it's the same case for every farmer in Bomet. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, how do we verify a farmer who has done everything that they can to feed the nation, only that maybe the pesticides that they are using, maybe they don't know of the effects of that pesticide, Honorable Speaker. Where does the farmer come in? How is the farmer supposed to know that it is this? All these brands have been approved by government. I have gone to an agrovet. I've bought this brand so that I can fight this insect. Then after I've grown my crop, somebody comes and says that I'm feeding. That is being extremely unfair, Mr. Speaker, to that farmer, because that farmer has done, there's no shortcut. For the time that I've been a potato farmer, we grow potatoes for 4 months. There's no one time that we have had a pesticide that has helped us to grow potatoes in 4 months, so that we can say that at least we are getting any advantage by being said to sell poison. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, we must push for research and also push for innovation. We cannot continue doing the, the old system of crop production and expect different results or expect higher yields, Honorable Speaker. So therefore, this is an extremely good inclusion. And on this matter of research, Honorable Speaker, it will help even governments, be it the national government, be it the county government, in their planning and in terms of allocation of resources, Honorable Speaker. I sometimes wonder, how is it that you see a governor of a county, this year they are saying that this is our project. Next year they have abandoned this project. They have gone to another project. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is a cure that was provided for in the County Governments Act. The cure was that a county government has a county integrated development plan that is supposed to run for 5 years. And out of that county integrated development plan, CIDP, is where they also get the ADP, the annual development plan. So you align your ADP with the CIDP. This is, and Mr. Speaker, there is a big input by the citizens in formulation of the CIDP. Because you go to the citizen and you ask them, what do you think are your priorities? And you write them in your 5-year term. And I mean, you just say that in this area, this is what we want. In this area, this is what we want. In agriculture, this is what we want. And so you have your 5-year plan of how you want to run that county. So midway. Now, like, for example, if I was to give you an example, Mr. Speaker, of the county that I come from, in the first year, the county government was now giving super napier to farmers so that we can improve on animal feeds, 12.5 million. Well, I can't say that I've seen it very successful, but be it as it may, that is such a good thought. But on the second year, instead of building on what we have started, on the second year now we started growing apples. In my mother tongue, I don't know whether that Giduku will help me because he also understands my mother tongue. It's called kafagoho. So I don't know whether that kafagoho is the apple, but I think it's the family of the apples, Honorable Speaker. Another 12.5 million. Instead of building on this now new project that the governor has now decided that we are now not done with the super napier, now we have gone to apples. So instead of going to that year and build on what we have done, we now have abandoned the 12.5 million for super napier. We have abandoned the 12.5 for apples. Now there is something that they're calling crop promotion. And I heard from the governor, because he was speaking in the county assembly yesterday, that we now have a new revelation that Nyandarua is actually doing very well and can do very well in terms of coffee production. First, Mr. Speaker, we have never produced coffee. And I would be very happy if Nyandarua would be said to produce coffee. But Mr. Speaker, whatever we say must be backed up by facts. There must have been some research that informs why we actually believe that coffee can actually grow in Nyandarua. We cannot just say because coffee grows in Laikipia, it can grow in Nyandarua. Just because we are neighboring, because we neighbor Laikipia. Some people are saying it is growing in Laikipia. Mr. Speaker, sir, the reason why, the places that are very cold, many places that are very cold do well in production of tea. But you actually know that Kinangop is very cold. And we have never grown tea, Mr. Speaker. We have always been growing potatoes. There must have been a reason why the potatoes were taken to Nyandarua and tea was taken to Kericho, whereas both places are very cold, Mr. Speaker. These sensational statements that you keep making, they must be backed by research. There must have been some research that informs your decision on saying that we now want to start growing coffee. Because we would also want, Mr. Speaker, by the way, it's not that we would not want to build, to grow these crops that give quick money. Last week I was in Mbere. You of course know what I was doing in Mbere. And I don't want to advance that story. Because I know many people will be very uncomfortable if I tell you what I saw in Mbere. That is a story that I will also that I'll tell in the days to come. But I actually saw in Senator Mundigi's place, they grow something that is called mooka. A small piece of land of 1 acre, somebody is harvesting like 30 kilos of mooka every day, and they are selling it at 1,000 per kilo. That is 30,000 every day in 1 acre. If we can be able to get that kind of money in Nyandarua, Mr. Speaker, we cannot, it's not that we also want to plant potatoes and if people buy it at 1,200. We would also want to grow mogoka if it can grow in Nyandarua so that all of us can then eat mogoka. If mogoka is what will give our farmers money, Mr. Speaker, that is what we would want to grow. I see my time really moves. Sometimes I used to actually think that time moves faster when I'm speaking, but I confirmed that it is my thoughts that are always very, very, very broad. Maybe finally, as I also wind up, Mr. Speaker, the board shall, in collaboration with the respective county governments, establish capping centers in the counties for purposes of conducting coffee quality and capacity building. Honorable Speaker, you know coffee, as it is, you get more money when you have better quality. So therefore, even the farmer should be able to be advised. Having tested your soil, this quality of coffee can actually grow on your soil so that you can actually grow coffee that is of very high quality. Because if you tell, for example, the farmers in Nyandarua to grow coffee, which coffee are we growing? Are we growing Arabic? Are we growing Arabica? Or are we growing, I mean, which brand of coffee are we growing? Or we are just taking coffee bushes and grow them just for the sake of it, Mr. Speaker. So therefore, in terms of quality, the board should be able to advise on the quality of coffee that we are doing. Maybe finally, Mr. Speaker, in terms of continuity of what we do in government, because that is also something systemic that hurts our development as a country, Mr. Speaker. I'll give you case and point and an example. When President Uhuru Kenyatta was leaving office, he built a potato cold storage, which is approximately 60,000 metric tons in North Kalau. By the time he was leaving office, it was actually complete. It was commissioned and launched by President William Ruto in December of the year that he was elected in 2022. But you know, Mr. Speaker, the sad part is that not even one crate of potatoes has ever been frozen in that cold room, Mr. Speaker. That thing now remains as a white elephant, 600 million. And you know, Mr. Speaker, the day that he was actually launching it, there were potatoes inside. But you know, the way, and I don't want to blame him because I don't think it is him who had brought the potatoes. But by the time he left, if he was flying to Nairobi, the potatoes had already made their way back to where they have been taken from in the Okarao market. Because, Mr. Speaker, by the time he got to Nairobi, the place had been closed. And to this minute, 3 years later, nothing has ever been done on that particular. And it is complete. It was being commissioned because it is complete. And it has costed 600 million. And it's not only that 600 million, because there are other finances, government finances that have been used. There is a tarmac that goes to that particular facility. That tarmac has costed taxpayers money. Mr. Speaker, how do you imagine the people feel when they see such kind of a facility and it does not help them? You can imagine 60,000 metric tons of potatoes. You know the reason why people buy our potatoes at throwaway price is because they are highly perishable. You can't keep them at home. It's not like the people from the other places that grow maize. So you can hold your maize and sell it when the prices improve. For potatoes, you have to sell them because in 2, 3, 4, 5 days, they are going bad, Mr. Speaker. So a facility of a cold room was meant to help our people so that once you put your potatoes there, they can wait until you can get, you can get good prices in the market, Honorable Speaker. There is another white elephant that is at my place called Midland. Just the other day, you know, the way the president speaks, he said that he wants now to help the people of Jambini by building the County Aggregation Industrial Park. He was there and it was launched. A very big ceremony, Honorable Speaker. I see the way you're looking at this red right. I know you want me to finish. But, Mr. Speaker, just to disappoint you, after he left, the trenches that were dug when President William Ruto was in Jambini for the launch of the County Aggregation Industrial Park, nothing has happened to this minute. And he can't blame the county because he was supposed to first give us his 250 million. Even if the county had not done anything, at least we'll be seeing anything, something moving up, and we'll say maybe the final, the finishing of that particular facility will be done by the county, Honorable Speaker. So therefore, we must be serious to our farmers. We cannot just keep speaking. We cannot just come and sensationalize people. Come and tell the people that now, the people of Nyandarua, your challenge has been
Senator Metu, your time is up, and thank you for your contribution. Now, honorable members, there is no other member who wishes to contribute to this motion. I therefore call upon the mover, Senate Majority Whip, Senator Wafula, to reply.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa nafasi hii tena kurudi hapa ili niweze kutamatisha kimuktasari yale ambayo viongozi maseneta wenzangu wametaja. Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kushukuru bunge la kitaifa na bunge la Senate waliokuwa katika kikosi cha majadiliano kupata mwafaka wa mswada huu, kwa sababu Wakenya wa pembe mbalimbali wamekuwa wakitufuatilia karibuni sana. Ningependa vile vile kuwashukuru wakulima kote nchini kule tulikotembea, wakulima kule Bungoma, Bomet na pembe zingine za nchi ya Kenya, pale ambapo tulizungumza kuhusiana na mswada huu. Ni vile vile kushukuru Mheshimiwa Metu kwa hoja zako ambazo umezikariri na kuzidondoa kwa usanjari mzuri kuhusiana na changamoto za wakulima wa viazi katika nchi ya Kenya, na nikukuhakikishia tu kwamba bunge la Senate na mimi kama kiongozi walio wengi ni kwamba tutafuatilia yale ambayo yanahusu wakulima wetu. Iwapo ni miradi iliyozinduliwa na serikali, tutasukuma ili ya serikali ifanywe, na yale ya serikali za kaunti vile vile itekeleze wajibu wake, kwa sababu kwa mkuana lazima mikono yote miwili ikutane. Serikali ya Nairobi imenyoosha mkono wa njema katika serikali ya kaunti yako, na tunataraji kwamba gavana vile vile atafanya vivyo hivyo. Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kuwashukuru maseneta waliochangia mswada huu, kiongozwa na Seneta Aaron Cheruiyot, kiongozi walio wengi katika jumba hili, Seneta Gathuri Murungi, kiongozi naibu wa spika, Mheshimiwa Okiya Mtata, Mheshimiwa Danson Mungatana na ndugu yangu Methu aliyezungumza muda mchache uliopita. Mheshimiwa Spika, ninashukuru Mheshimiwa Methu amedondoa hoja hapa kwamba kaunti lazima iwe na kumbukumbu ama orodha ya wakulima ambao kwao utafiti ama wanapopeana pembejeo ama wanapofanya ukulima mashinani lazima magavana wawe na takwimu zinazofaa ili waweze kupanga. Kama mwenyekiti, Mheshimiwa Spika, niliweza kuwakaribisha magavana mbalimbali katika kamati yangu, na kuna gavana mmoja kutoka Bonde la Ufa, Mheshimiwa Spika, ambaye tulikuwa tunajadili orodha ya wakulima ambao wamepata pembejeo. Mheshimiwa Spika, alileta orodha ya wakulima 6,000. Mheshimiwa Spika, kupitia nyenzo zangu na mamlaka niliyopewa, Mheshimiwa Spika, kumulika kurunzi katika majina hayo, 94% zilikuwa gushi, majina ya watu ambao hawako eneo hilo la county, wengine hawajaifanya ukulima wa mahindi, lakini wameorodheshwa kwamba ni wakulima wa eneo hili. Sasa ni kukubaliana na ndugu yangu Methu kwamba sisi kama masenators lazima tuwasukume viongozi wa county wawajibike, kwa sababu hizi fedha sio zao kibinafsi, lazima wawajibike na wafanye kazi. Na katika tamati ya kazi hii tutaweza kuanika wale ambao wanapotosha umma kwamba wanatumia fedha ilhali wanazing'amua kama nzige. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, wengi wa maseneta hawapo kwa sababu ya shughuli mbalimbali. Jinsi unafahamu, wanasafiri kwenda ng'ambo, nchi jirani ya Uganda, michezo ya Afrika Mashariki, maeneo bunge. Ningependa tu kupendekeza kwamba kutamatisha mswada huu na kupiga kura ili awamu itamatike na serikali iweze kutia kidole, tuweze kuahirisha kupendekeza kwa swali hili hadi siku nyingine pale ambapo itifaki za bunge zitaona ni bora kuitisha kikao ili tuweze kutamatisha. Na hiyo ni kupitia nambari 663 katika mamlaka ya bunge kuomba kwamba maswali ama swali liwekwe baadaye ama swali liahirishwe hadi wakati mwafaka ili wote tuhusike na tuhakikishe kwamba mswada huu unatamatika na wakulima wa nchi ya Kenya waweze kupata haki yao. Kwa hayo mengi, Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba ushukuru na kukomea hapo. Asante.
Thank you, Senator Okoli. Pursuant to Standing Order 663, your request to defer putting of the question is hereby granted and deferred to the next sitting of the House. Now we will, clerk, call the next order. It's okay, I'll just proceed to direct that in order for us to facilitate continuity of the business of the House, we will defer from order number 11, number 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. I'll ask the clerk to call out order number 28.
Order number 28, motion, adjournment of the Senate.
Senator Mungatana, you are taking this on behalf of the Leader of Majority. Proceed to move.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the floor. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move under Order 31-1 that this House be adjourned for this session. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this on behalf of the Majority Leader, Senator Aaron Cheriot, that, Mr. Speaker, this has been a tremendously great session that this House has managed to do. Mr. Speaker, earlier on, specific number of bills that were moved was mentioned. The number of motions were mentioned during this session. Mr. Speaker, a number of our bills also went to mediation. A number of our bills were passed. A number of our bills were assented to by His Excellency the President. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to really congratulate this House for the work they have put. I know we've had our own, difficulties, our own challenges, especially, Mr. Speaker, when some of our bills are processed here properly and passed to the other House, and they take very long before they are put on the order paper, and sometimes, Mr. Speaker, even they are lost along the path. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the senators who have been always present during the debates in this House, senators who have worked very hard in their committees, Mr. Speaker. I really want to thank all the committee chairpersons. I want to thank all the vice chairpersons, Mr. Speaker, and the honorable senators who are consistently attending. Mr. Speaker, I can't forget to thank the Secretariat of this Senate, the clerk, and the management of the House through the Speaker for making sure the things were running properly during this session. Mr. Speaker, we appreciate the work that is done behind the back so that this House can run smoothly. Mr. Speaker, we appreciate the administration and the duties that are carried to make sure senators in this House are able to work appropriately. We also want to thank our staff who have been helping the senators with research, with administrative work, back in the county offices, and even in the Nairobi offices. Mr. Speaker, we really appreciate those members of staff who have been diligent and they have been helping us. Mr. Speaker, it is now time to break for the long holidays. And Mr. Speaker, for us, like we have said, and it was said this afternoon, it's going to be short because I am aware, Mr. Speaker, in January, many committees will go back to work, although we are supposed to actually take a break until February. But with the permission and leave of the Speaker, many of these committees will be sitting again. Mr. Speaker, in particular, this House, the Speaker has given direction that we need to look at the agreements and the Energy Committee, the agreements that were done for extraction of oil in Turkana. And Mr. Speaker, those agreements need to pass through this House and the other House before they can be constitutionally, because they can be executed. Because, Mr. Speaker, those are mineral resources that are coming for the benefit of this country. Mr. Speaker, you remember during the State of the Nation address, the President talked about intergenerational wealth. The President talked about the sovereign wealth, Mr. Speaker. So the Committee of Energy of the Senate, as ruled by the Speaker, must meet and within 60 days, Mr. Speaker, complete all the work, including public participation, Mr. Speaker, meeting all stakeholders. So I know senators will have a short break and they will come back. But I want to take this opportunity to wish them a Merry Christmas, and as we go home, a Happy New Year, and to meet with all our constituents, Mr. Speaker, those who sent us here. Honorable Methu here has said, majority of us have been elected here by farmers, and those people now need to give us feedback, whether we have been pushing the appropriate messages in this House, Mr. Speaker. And I pray that senators who have already started their leave will be able to do the same like we have agreed here today, Mr. Speaker. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I wish them good health. Let us take care of ourselves, and let us come back. Let us not lose any one of us to accidents and other risky things. Let's come back, and I wish them Godspeed. Stay well, honorable senators. Let us have all of us. And maybe I want to congratulate the new member of the Senate who came recently. We have received a new member who has replaced our departed colleague. So the House is complete now, Mr. Speaker. Although he came in for a short time, I know that he will be able to fulfill his mandate within the time that is remaining. So I wish all of us well. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And Mr. Speaker, I beg to move this motion of adjournment, and I call upon the Honorable Majority Whip, the Senator for Bungoma, Senator David Wakoli, to second this motion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, nashukuru Mheshimiwa Mungatana na Senator Methu ambao tuko nao hapa. Ni kushukuru wa Kenya kutoka pembe mbalimbali wanapotusikiliza na kututazama. Ningependa kuambia wa Kenya kwamba wao wasingekuwepo, Senate halingeshughulikia mambo yao, na ni kwa rai kwamba msimu huu wa likizo waendelee kutujuza, waendelee kutueleza, waendelee kuchanganua masuala ibuka katika jamii, yale ambayo jumba la Senate lapaswa kuzingatia ama kuwatetea, ili waweze kujihisi wa Kenya na wafurahie matunda ya nchi ya Kenya. Ndugu yangu Mungatana amesema miswada mingi tumepitisha, hoja nyingi tumejadili. Kilichobaki pia ni kushinikiza tu serikali za county, kwa sababu kazi ya Senate ni kusukuma serikali za county kuwajibika na kuwatendea Wakenya mema, iwe ni kilimo, iwe ni michezo, iwe ni miundombinu, iwe ni utamaduni. Wao Wakenya popote walipo lazima waendelee kudai na kusukuma ili wapate haki yao, wapate gharama ya fedha ambazo wanagharamia. Mheshimiwa Spika, pia ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kuhakikishia Wakenya kwamba kamati zote za Senate kiongozwa na kamati niliyokuwa naiongoza ya kilimo, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kuwashukuru kwa sababu pembejeo zimekuja kwa mapema. Mswada wa kahawa huko hapa, fedha zinakuja kwa masaa yanayotarajiwa, sukari vivyo hivyo. Ningependa kushukuru Mgatana amedai mambo ya maembe. Tunawahakikishia tu Wakenya, hatua kwa hatua, pole pole ndio mwendo. Heri kuchelewa kuliko kukosa kufika. Sasa tunawahakikishia Wakenya tutatembea ase kuhakikisha kwamba tunafiki malengo na matarajio ya Wakenya ili tuweze kufurahia matunda ya nchi ya Kenya. Kulingana na yale ambayo Mheshimiwa Mgatana ametaja, mimi vile vile ni kusema na kubali kwamba vikao vitamatishwe hadi wakati mwingine patapotangazwa kwamba vikao vimeitishwa kirasmi na bunge la Senate kiongozwa na Spika. Kuwatakia Wakenya Christmas njema, wasafiri salama, vijana wajiepushe na mihadarati na ngono isiyoweza kupimika ili vizazi vijavyo viweze kuwa hai, kuwa na afya, ili tuendelee kuwa Wakenya ambao tunajali vizazi vijavyo. Ukweli unazidi Injili, na naomba kukomea hapo. Asante.
Now, honorable senators, before I propose the question, I would also like to thank all the honorable members of this House for the very great session that we have had that is coming to an end today. It has been a session of great debate in the House. As the Honorable Senator Mugatana said, we have passed several bills. We earlier on received a report from the leader of majority on the business that this House has transacted for the season that's coming to an end today. I want to thank all the members. I want to thank the entirety of the Secretariat led by the clerk for the support that has always been available to the members of this House. And I will not forget the viewers and the Kenyans in general who have for the longest served to give us feedback on what we do as a House. I wish them well. I am aware that even though we are adjourning today, committees will continue doing the work in their various committees, whether within or without the country. I want to encourage them to continue doing what the people of this republic asked them to do when they sent them to this House. For those who are proceeding to the East Africa Sports in Uganda, I wish them well. I wish them success. I request them to shine in whatever discipline that they are involved in the sports within the East Africa, and highlight the success stories that we always speak about in Kenya. And lastly, as you embark on now the holiday season, I want to wish you the very best. I wish you festivities that are full of success, both for those who are going to be with their families and those who are going to be without their families for the season. I encourage you to spend as much time as possible with your families. I wish you all Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year 2026. And now, Honorable Senators, I propose the question that pursuant to Standing Order 31.3, the Senate do adjourn until Tuesday, 10th of February 2026. And honorable members, this being a procedural motion and with your concurrence, I know and I want to request that if there is any member who wants to speak to it, we could, but if there is none, we just proceed to end that. And therefore, pursuant to Standing Order 13, the Senate do adjourn until Tuesday, 10th of February 2026. Now, honorable members, there being no other business on the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday, 10th of February 2026 at 2:20 p.m. 2:30 p.m. Merry Christmas and happy 2026, Honorable Senators.